for speed. Go!
It's that time of the year. It's that time of the year when we have to talk about last year. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Cocktail Time. I'm your host, Joseph Christ. And it is our 2012 award show. And something just happened with my thing. Hold on. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. Wait 1 second. My thing went stupid for a second. Hold on. Hello? Oh, I know what happened. Okay, this should go back in a second. Hello? Wait a sec. Wait.
It's a great.
There we go. Okay.
Show.
Yeah, no, isn't it fantastic? We've been having some. So that wasn't my fucking fault. You know whose fault that was? Fucking Twitch, because I had the live page or the dashboard playing, and even if you hit pause, it automatically starts it. And so,
really?
Since the Windows started playing stuff, the speakers on the laptop, which feed my system here, went to external instead of internal. So the whole thing just got a whole fucking shit. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Are you guys ready? I'm sure. I am sure you're both exquisitely prepared for this 2012 award show because it's cocktail time, and we are always as prepared as can be. And as your fearless leader, I did my lists, I printed them out, I checked them thrice, and I'm sure that you both did the same.
No.
No. Not
in fact, I'm working on mine right now.
Oh. Okay, well, that's fine.
And I'll be working on mine in about 5 minutes.
About 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's good. So, how is everybody? Have a good week. All right. So we're not going to do, for those of you watching Cocktail Time, we're not going to do the normal Cocktail Time. We'll just talk about what we're drinking real quick, and then we kind of got to jump into it because Cocktail Time is going to be in two segments tonight. The first segment is with myself, Chris Davis, and Bob Webb here, and we're going to go through the first bunch of award segments, award categories that we have. And then we're going to take a break. And then we're going to be joined by George Denison and Jeff Diablo, as I like to call him. And they'll be taking the places of Bob and Chris, and then they'll be finishing off the second half of the list with us. That's kind of how it's working. And then our top 10s this year, and I guess we can, I'm not sure if we mentioned it, but they're all going to be in video form. This year is what's going on. So we will not be doing our top 10s in a podcast. We're actually going to be releasing videos, starting with this week. I believe George's and Jeff's are first. And then as the week progresses, more videos are going to come out with our own personal top 10 lists. I've seen them today. I've seen the first two, and they're gorgeous. Thanks especially to Mr. Chris Davis here, our resident video producer, who did a great job on them. And just to answer some of your questions, I know we've been talking about being busy in the background doing stuff, and we basically been recording, well, not me, but they, because I can't really do it, I've been recording console footage for 2-3 weeks now, to get all the footage we needed necessary to make these videos, because we wanted to provide our own footage. We didn't want to just grab stuff from YouTube, because there's issues with, I guess, copyright and whatever else. And it's nicer if we have our own stuff. So that's kind of what's been going on. But yeah, so starting this week, we'll have the videos out, and that's how we're going to do it. So we're not going to have 9 hours of podcasting for the end of the year stuff like we had in previous years. Instead, it's going to be pretty much just 2 podcasts to go over these categories. And we actually we took out a lot of these the questions. We took them out, the old questions. We pared down these categories a bit. We trimmed the fat, so to speak. So, which I
We
think
kept the good ones.
we kept the good ones. We took out the
yeah.
bad ones, like the really ridiculous ones, like fuck, marry, kill. We kind of got rid of that because it's a dumb.
A lot of times the people
category.
hadn't played the games actually had the characters in them.
Or what would happen is we would inevitably get it wrong. You know, like
Yeah.
I think it was last year when we did it. We thought, or some of us thought, it was just any game, and that the names given in the category was just an example.
Right.
When actually those were the only ones you were supposed to do. So we took that out.
So I was supposed to. I think last year the Fuck, Marry, Kill was Catherine, and something.
It was Catherine, and Catherine, I think. But
No, it was Catherine, and then the chick from Dragon Age 2, the pirate buccaneer chick. I can't remember.
oh,
her name.
yes, you're right.
Wonderful, because I played both games. Yes, I did. Totally, all the way through.
Oh yeah, because that's just
Yeah.
you. You love block puzzle games, and
Yeah, oh,
you
yeah.
love
And then fantasy.
And fantasy.
Oh, shit.
That's your two favorite things. If I know you,
I
Chris,
just jerk off to them constantly.
he jerks off to a Rubik's cube. He jerks off on it. It's like, yeah, I wrote all over your yellow face. You know,
While wearing chainmail.
while wearing chainmail and a ball gag, and he's got a
6 sides, so much to love.
yeah, and he's got one of those horsetail butt plugs in. You know. I'm just, can I just say something? Sex toys have gotten expensive. I don't know what the fuck happened in the past 10 years, but I'm just throwing that out there from my experience this week.
Were you looking at them recently?
Yeah, I just, 40.
Were you looking into invest into like a dragon dick?
No, but speaking of which, though, we can't go off. We can't do this. We can't go off the rails. We have like people waiting to come on the second half. But fuck it, I'm going to talk about this. Speaking of dragon dicks, okay. Have you guys seen AlienDildos.com?
I think I saw it
Can't
when
say
you
I have.
tweeted it.
Oh man, AlienDildos.com. They have all of these dildos
Oh
shaped.
god, this is actually...
Look it up, Bob. And they have dildos shaped like
Oh, yeah.
here's Predator, here's Alien, and they have the different types of aliens. They have a Pred-Alien dildo.
There's one called Gorth. It just looks like a giant knot with like some spikes at the base.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a cock ring, maybe. Maybe that's the cock ring.
No, that's not a. That's a dildo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because they have like coming is like the coming soon is they're gonna have like
alien pussy.
they're gonna have alien pussies like Fleshlight, but aliens, and maybe they'll have like a Liara or whatever else, like a Mass Effect 3 Fleshlight.
Oh god, there's an alien eggtail butt plug.
God.
You can have an alien tail coming out, or an alien egg coming out of your ass. It's just kind of sits there. Oh god, this thing is horrible.
I like the fact that a lot of our listeners over at 4pp.tv are probably underage, and they're all at aliendildos.com right now. It makes it makes me feel warm inside. So we gotta get started. Let's start with what we're drinking tonight. Chris, start with you. What are you drinking?
Unfortunately, I've got work in the morning, so it's just soda.
Okay.
Soda.
Bob, what do you have?
I'm just drinking a little
Oh, that's classy looking.
Absinthe.
What is that?
absinthe.
Oh, some absinthe. Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm drinking some like twisted tea.
Oh god,
tonight.
you're back on that.
Well, not really back on. This is the first of some of it. This is the first some of it. That sounds so good. This is the first some of it I've had in quite a while. So let's see. The first.
I still can't find that shit around
the
here.
first sip of the nectar. Oh, that's refreshing. That is good stuff. That's what is the milk of the teat of the Lord. I'm drinking from the teat of Jesus. Tastes like heretic tears.
There's just one called phallus. It's like they weren't even trying with this one.
This is phallus.
This is phallus.
This is the phallus. What is
It
it?
looks kind of like a bong.
I'm actually that Alien Dildos website. I'm actually really impressed at what a good job they did of sort of recreating, recreating what a an alien phallus would look like. They imagineered it, so to speak.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Disney would be proud. Okay, so we're already late. So how we're going to do this, we're going to go through our categories for 2012, our awards. When we get to the question, I guess, do your runner-up, and then also do Then right away, then do your winner. I think last year we went around and did our runner-up first, and then did our winners, and that's just sort of silly to do it that way, you know. So, are you guys ready? Do you need some time? Should we take a music break or?
I don't think we have time.
We really don't have time. We should just do this as a lightning round. We can get Pat Sajak in and just do a lightning round for these things.
So, do these have to be games I played?
I
didn't play many games.
They should preferably be games you played. Bob, since you played mostly shitty Kinect games, that's fine. You can use those over and over again. And this is Cocktail Time Awards. This is like, we're serious to a degree here.
There's awards for participation.
You get a participation award, like the slow child in class. There's actually, you should have played them. There's actually I chose one game in my categories that I actually did not physically play myself, but I saw enough of it be played that I thought I could at least give it this award. No, I'm not saying what this award is going to be just yet, but I'm just saying I gave it an award that I felt I could give it, and I would feel like an asshole if I didn't give it. We'll get to it actually pretty shortly here. So, okay, let's start off. Our first category, and if you guys want to follow along at home, the categories and stuff is listed on the event tab at Cocktail Time end of year show. All the categories are right there. And you guys can
it is. Wow.
Yeah, see, I'm on top of this shit like a, something.
I'm so annoyed with their fucking ads. I keep getting single and Christian, which I'm neither.
I've been getting those too, and I don't know why. I think if you...
Oh shit! I think it was the story about your locking the altar boy in the closet. Maybe that's a...
Oh, God damn it.
Targeted advertising.
Yeah, so I did, yeah. And it doesn't, like... Those ads don't get context. I could say, I fucking hate Christianity, and all of a sudden it's like, Christian singles? Because it just reads the word Christianity, or Christian, or something like that. So. Okay, let's begin. First category. Year-end show. 2012 awards. I wish I had like a drum roll sound, or... This can be our drum roll.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
So, best looking game of 2012. Bob, let's start with you. Let's go around that way.
Runner up.
Best looking Kinect game. Best looking shitty Kinect game of 2012. Apparently. Runner up.
What? Oh well, that's true. Actually, Fable: The Journey didn't look that bad.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, it actually didn't look too bad, and I did have some real world experience with that one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Of all the Kinect games you played this year, and I even played this year, that was probably the best one. I think.
I don't know. Harry Potter for Kinect.
No, Harry Potter
win a couple awards.
See, but that's not even right, because the reason Harry Potter Kinect is so good has nothing to do with the game Harry Potter Kinect.
No, it has to do with that picture you took of yourself.
That's all of it. That's all
incredible.
Of it.
Does that mean I'd get the award?
No, that actually means that one should probably win for best looking game for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So Bob's number one best looking game of 2012 is Harry Potter Kinect. And if someone in chat over at 4pp.tv wants to put the link in chat and exactly showing why Bob has chosen that one, we'd be appreciative. And I think for you, Bob, I think that's a damn good choice. Chris, how about you?
Runner-up has to go to Dishonored.
Okay.
Because of the atmosphere and the world they created.
Right. That's sort of the oil painting sort of artistic style they chose.
It's just it's a wonderful looking game. And no, the winner has to go to Far Cry 3.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna.
See, that's a good.
Mainly because it's green.
It's because it's what?
It's green and pretty.
Yeah, it is. They did, yeah. And you don't find a lot of games with that saturation of color anymore.
Yeah, and a lot of a lot of HD looks really good when you have those really vibrant colors.
Yeah.
And it's got plenty of those.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great choice. That's not one of my choices, and I think it's mostly because I only played it on the 360. So, and it looks kind of like poop on the 360. Honestly, if I was playing on a high end computer, I probably would have. That would have been up there for me as well. For me, best looking games, 2012 runner up. Easily the 360 version of The Witcher 2. I think it's just a really beautiful game. Looks fantastic.
It didn't come out this year. Well,
yes, it did. The 360 version,
the enhanced edition.
The enhanced version, it does count. Witcher 2, the enhanced edition, looked fantastic. The computer, the PC does look better, of course, but they did a really great job. It's one of the best ports I've ever played. And my number one is Dishonored, because of that wonderful art style, that watercolor art painting art style, which I think took a chance and created this really beautiful world, and I think also worked really well with the limitations of the 360. And that game still looked really beautiful on 360. Resolution a little bit low, I admit, but I think if they went for a hyper-realistic look, they wouldn't have nearly had made that game as beautiful on the console.
It would not have that wonderful atmosphere if they did.
Not at all. Yeah, I mean, no game as the only game that I think had that effect of like just really changing things around. I mean, if you want to go, talk about Borderlands when they went with their cell shaded thing, and if you want to go even further back, the old shooter 13, which was super cell shaded to the point of being more like comic book. I think I always almost preferred 13's graphics a little bit better than the Borderlands, because Borderlands still went for that hyper realistic look, whereas 13 was like, we're a fucking comic book, and I like the way that, and to the point to where, not to go off the rails too much, but in 13, when you'd shoot guns or people would walk, like you'd see like bang show up, almost like the old like Batman sitcoms and stuff. So that's cool. Okay, the next category: best world and or universe. Bob Webb. Which awful Kinect game?
Let's see.
Should we just add awful Kinect game to? But you played some other stuff as well. So. Yeah,
I did. Actually, if I had two real choices, I don't know which one I would put runner up or the winner, but I would go either between Dishonored and A Legend of Grimrock.
Oh, okay.
Those would be my two serious answers. My two non-serious answers, the worst worlds, would be Steel Battalion.
Yeah.
Really just boring-ass world. It's just nothing but quick times. And the Fable the Journey world was really bad.
Was it worse than... Because it seemed like they tried... but failed. Like the Fable the Journey, the funniest part of that game is you trying to do things around that little encampment. Like move around with your shoulders and then take the horse apple or take the apple horse.
I don't know if it's the worlds in Kinect games. I think are always going to be bad because you can't interact with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really difficult to... I like when they have like a heavy narration.
Right. There's very little you can do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The moving the shoulder thing just doesn't feel good.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
Feel good.
Don't remind me.
Okay.
Damn Rising Nightmares.
Yeah. Are you done? You good?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Chris Davis, Best World in Universe 2012. Yeah, we should have gotten next year we're fucking renting tuxedos for this. And I'm gonna get envelopes so we can open up each envelope. I think that'd be great.
Nice. I'll get my shit in a martini glass.
Yeah, we'll get martini. Oh, okay. Yeah, next year is what we're doing. We're doing like a real award show with martini glasses, and they'll get like big band music for each one. And this is what we're gonna do. All right.
Yeah, but the notes wouldn't come in envelopes. They would come in sealed beer bottles.
Oh, we can do that.
Top off you pulled out,
and we can do like really bad monologues. Some people think that this game should have been honored or dissed. Okay. Best Walter Universe.
Okay. Like I was gonna say, hands down, it has to be Dishonored
For runner-up.
No, winner.
Winner. Okay. Yeah.
Would runner-up be Mass Effect 3?
No.
Oh, I'm actually surprised about that.
No, I everybody knows that I'm obsessed with Mass Effect 3, but I mean, hell, I was playing this just a couple hours ago.
Right.
But I don't really have a runner-up. It's just Dishonored is just...
Dishonored for you.
I'm all over it.
Yeah.
The universe, the characters, the outsider alone has me just enthused. I want to know what the fuck is up with him, and I want to know so much more about this world.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. So mine, my runner-up, like you, Dishonored. I feel the same way. And also just the ability to just live in these levels and explore them and find out kind of what's going on in this world by exploring them. I see a lot of people who kind of played Dishonored and was like, oh, it was a 6-7 hour game. And I'm like, man, you really missed a lot of that game if you blew through it in 6-7 hours. I mean, you can... Bob, how long did you spend on the first mission just exploring that level? Like 6 hours?
6 hours.
Yeah, 6 hours in one level. Yep. Just exploring and looking for everything. I mean, it's really about finding all the bone charms and the talismans and all that kind of stuff. So,
if you aren't playing a level for at least an hour and a half, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You really are.
Yeah, totally agree. My number one, however, is Dragon's Dogma. You know, that everyone has their complaints about Dragon's Dogma, and the pawns spoke way too fucking much. But the world itself was just really what made that game. It was the world. I mean, we talked about this a long time ago when Dragon's Dogma came out, but if there was fast travel in that game, if you had an ability to bypass the world on the way to your missions, it would have ruined the game, and you would have been missing the point of what Dragon's Dogma really was offering. And not only that, when the game ends and really doesn't end and opens up, and you start falling into what I can't remember now, the big hole, the falling world thing. Stuff. Wonderland. But when the game opens up after the quote-unquote end, it becomes this whole other thing. It Everfall. I'm sorry. Thank you, Zlatko the Drunk, a subscriber at 4pp.tv. When the Everfall opens up and the whole game starts opening up, it really expands that world. So, Dragon's Dogma, number one for best world universe for me.
Nobody actually picked the Kingdoms of Amalur.
Kingdoms Amalur for the best world? No.
No.
Not really.
I almost forgot that game came out this year.
It's actually, you might see that game somewhere on my list. Possibly. Oh, wait, maybe not. I might have taken it off. Poor 38. Poor 38 Studios. Whatever happened to them? Hold on, my plug is coming out. Okay. Next category. Best boss fight. Bob. Yeah. What do you have?
So I actually have answers for this.
Oh, really? Okay, let's hear it.
The worst Connect, the worst games I played boss fights. I would say every fight in Dragon Ball Z Connect.
Okay, was the worst?
The worst boss.
The worst boss fight was every Dragon Ball Z Connect.
Every fight, it just gets progressively worse and worse and worse. I never finished it.
Okay.
And then the worst boss fight I played this year was the final boss in Amy.
Oh, really? So explain. Yeah. I never saw you do this, so what?
Well, first off, congratulations for actually getting to the final boss and not blowing your own brains out.
Yeah.
Not many people actually who played the game actually got the end.
Bob suffered through it for us.
It's bad. Not only is it jarring, the transition to the boss fight is incredibly jarring and doesn't even make sense. Like, you don't even really know, like, you go through an elevator and then all of a sudden, boss fight!
Oh,
and there's like a really crappy cutscene between the two. And there's no explanation for it. And then you have to find arbitrary bullshit things in the world in order to even do damage to the boss. Like, you have to get these, you're in a hospital and you have to go get these defibrillators, which look like a giant, like, grill. Mm-hmm. Like you do like a barbecue.
Right.
Like kind of just a flat part of the grill. And then you have to like go and put them into sockets in the wall. Mm-hmm. And then you have to lure the boss over it. And then the boss will get shocked. And then you can go around behind the boss and actually hit him. And you have to do this like 5 or 6 times.
That sounds horrible.
It's really bad.
Sounds really bad.
And the boss is fast. He'll catch up to you and he'll kill you in a couple hits.
Oh, jeez.
They don't explain any of this. It took me probably the better part of like 2 hours just in this one fight. It was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any good ones or best ones, or that's?
Those are the only ones I really thought of.
Oh, okay.
They were just the bad ones. Unless they, say like the Artorias of the Abyss content for Dark Souls.
Oh wow, yeah,
the DLC. But yeah, there really aren't that many games that have a lot of boss fights in them.
All right, Chris.
Well, I guess the runner-up for me would have to be... Well, this is the first entry of Mass Effect in this conversation. But in Mass Effect 3, the very last enemy encounter, I guess it counts as a boss fight, in which you just have to withstand waves upon waves upon waves upon waves of Reapers. And it's so fucking intense because you got like 3 Banshees, dozens of brutes coming after you, everything. And it's just fun. It's intense, and the music's going, and the only thing you can really do is not camp anywhere. You have to constantly circle the fucking map. And you gotta do it for about 10 minutes, so if you fuck up, you gotta restart. Oh. But it was fun. But number one has to be in Black Mesa, actually.
Okay.
So, even though I guess that technically doesn't count as a game, I mean, there's so much content in there in mine as well.
I think it does, because they added a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's not exactly a 1-to-1.
You know what? And I forgot we were adding that on, because, I mean, that would technically be a downloadable game, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
Which could have been, in second segment and stuff. But, so which boss fight in Black Mesa?
And Bob is really familiar with this since he got me the footage of the game. But there's a level called Questionable Ethics, and at the very end of you go into this main lobby of a building, and you suddenly get trapped in there, and about a dozen Marines start storming into the room.
That was your favorite part?
Yeah, I really liked it, mainly because
it was fucking hard.
It's fucking hard, but it's also got this kick-ass music going alongside the entire time. Mm-hmm. So I'm fucking in the zone the entire the fight. It's wonderful. Nice. Hard, but wonderful.
Yeah. Cool. So mine, best boss fights. My runner-up is the... I haven't looked this up, but I couldn't find a specific name for this boss. But it's the car chase boss in Binary Domain. I believe it's stage 4. It's when you're in the van escaping, and this giant motorcycle boss kind of comes at you, and you go through this long, lengthy boss fight. It's really good. It's really well done. It's got like different sections to it. I had a lot of fun with that boss fight. So, I mean, Binary Domain is kind of known for its sort of big old boss fights, and a lot of people talk about the spider boss, but the cycle boss I thought was just a fantastic sequence, and I really enjoyed that. My number one boss fight, however, is the final boss dragon fight in Dragon's Dogma. It's when you fight the boss the dragon that steals your heart at the beginning of the game. Get to the end, final boss fight with him is just really great. It's in multiple parts. It's like 3 or 4 parts to it, and it's really great. And it has all the bosses, all the kinds of cool stuff. Smaller drakes can do this, but he can do it too, where he'll grab one of your pawns and possess them, so they'll fight against you. It has other tropes as well, but I thought that was one of my favorite boss fights of this year. And I think, if I'm not wrong, I think the name of the boss is Grigori. I think I looked up online, but that might be wrong. But it's the final boss of it. I found that online, then I looked at the Dragon's Dogma wiki, and I couldn't see a name. But that boss fight, hands down, best one of the year. Okay, next one! Best new character, which is described as what characters will stand the test of time. I kind of had a hard time with this one.
I've got a great answer for this one.
I got my first one really easy, but it took me a while to get my runner-up. So we'll see. Why don't you start us out, Bob?
Koshiro guessed it right. Bobby Potter from Harry Potter Connect.
You know what? Yeah, as far as new enduring characters go, I think that's a winner. That's something.
Oh yeah,
that's a character we'll be talking about for forever.
That is, yeah, they will definitely stand the test of time.
Yeah, most definitely. Any runner-up? Can anyone runner-up to Bob Bobbington? I mean, Is that a possibility?
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Underwear Ranger from Power Rangers for Kinect is a close
The underwear. Second. Yeah, I kind of like the
Underwear Cardboard Ranger.
I think those two should start sort of a like superhero type of thing.
Yeah, be a
dynamic duo, if you will.
A what?
A dynamic duo.
A dynamic duo. I like that. Chris Davis.
Well, had a bit of a time figuring that out, but I guess number 2 goes to Sergeant Walker or Captain Walker. I'm sorry, in Spec Ops: The Line.
Oh, okay. See, that's one game I didn't get to this year, and I'm kind of ashamed.
You really should have played.
Yeah.
His journey through Dubai and all the twists and turns that happen, especially there's several really big twists. One midway through the game, one at the very end that just kind of blows your mind about this character. And it's really fucking cool.
Right.
But number 1, this one I kind of went back and forth with. Dust from Dust and Elysian Tale.
Oh, okay. Another game I didn't play.
Tell you what, it's a very colorful, very kind of majestic world.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know, they hint at a continuation in the ending, and just the journey of this character, how you learn more about him and how he interacts with the world. I think it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Especially since only one man made this fucking game.
Yeah, that's impressive. I think that's the biggest thing that impresses me sometimes about these indie games is that they craft this wonderful experience, and it's like one guy sometimes, 2 guys maybe. And if it's 2 guys, one guy did the game, the other guy did the music. So
yeah,
that's usually how it all.
Yeah.
If you have one person doing everything, all the art, all the game, everything, it's way too many hats to wear for one person. It's either going to take forever, or it's going to be one of those departments are going to suffer.
Yeah. Okay, so mine, I have some notes scribbled here because I kind of changed things around. So my best new character, number 2, I originally had it as Haytham Kenway, Connor's dad, in Assassin's Creed 3. Because I really liked that character. I thought he was very, very cool. In fact, I liked him a lot more than Connor, and I kind of just wanted to keep playing as him, and I wish I could have. But then I scribbled it out because I remembered how much I liked Handsome Jack as my runner-up.
Oh, true.
From Borderlands 2, who's pretty much just like Archer, an evil Archer, pretty much. So I really liked I really liked him a lot. But my number 1 best new character is Voss from Far Cry 3.
I figured you'd probably...
Yeah, Voss from Far Cry 3, number 1, and that all comes down, I think, to the voice actor, because I think the story goes with that character was that the original designs for that character were completely different, and then the voice actor walked in as the character and did the character in person, and they just fell in love with him, and they just sort of made the character look like him. So, and like... Whenever he's on the screen in Far Cry 3, it's just the highlight. And when I got to the point where Voss was no longer around, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna miss Voss.
They really did that character wrong. They should not have had him just end halfway through the game.
Yeah, he shouldn't have went away. He should have been an enduring character, and then stuck around for further iterations of some sort. He's just too damn good to put away completely.
Yeah.
All right. Best debut, new IP, best new property to launch in 2012. Bob, all you played was new properties, basically.
That's true.
Well, so you have a lot to choose from.
Fuck.
I mean, but a lot of your old properties are, they're like... Oh, my mic is being weird, I think. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. I mean, like, some of the games I played that were, I guess, kind of new property, they're all, like, Kinect games. Like, Star Wars for Kinect. That was fucking awful. That's not a new property.
No, like, a lot of what you played was not really new properties. They were property's redone in a horrible way.
Yeah, no, just horribly done. And
Yeah.
ugh,
I can't think of any original titles you played.
Like Amy. Yeah, but that's not.
Amy.
I mean,
Not good.
I wouldn't put best anywhere in that.
No.
Not at all.
If I had to say anything, God, there's some really good. There's some really good new properties that came out this fucking year. Like I said earlier, Legend of Grimrock was a great one. Dishonored's a fucking great new property. I really like the mechanics in the world in that. What else did I play?
Well, those are two perfectly good choices if you want to go.
Yeah. There are some other ones that I really enjoyed, and I'm looking through my lists of games. What? Oh, Timber and Stone is. I don't know if Timber and Stone is going to be counting those 2012 games. It's in beta or alpha.
Yeah, that technically wasn't released, so we can't really.
Yeah, I can't say that. I don't know if The Walking Dead would be considered a new property, but holy fuck.
Maybe.
I wouldn't.
Well,
it's new to video games, but I mean,
it's not a new IP. It's not a new IP.
It's not a new IP. No.
I mean, if you have to, purchase the copyright of something, it's not a new IP, which they obviously had to do.
Yeah, I would say. God, I keep remembering how much I love Legend of Grimrock. I really hope they make a sequel to that, or they continue that game. So that's definitely gonna fucking win for me.
I think that's a totally acceptable answer if you want to go with that.
That will be it.
All right, Chris Davis, best new IPs.
Runner-up, Dust and Lacey Tale again.
Okay.
Winner has to be Dishonored.
Okay. Very cool.
There's no way I cannot point to that game.
Right. And my choices are a little bit generic. Number 2, runner-up for best debut is Dishonored. And number 1, best debut is Dragon's Dogma. If you're wondering why I read my review. We're probably going to be talking about Dragon's Dogma a lot. These end-of-year stuff. All of our end-of-year content.
Believe me, you have no idea.
Yeah. No, I bet you happen to know. Because you're editing all this stuff, so. Next category is best storytelling of 2012. And this one was kind of tough for me. But we'll see. Bob, best storytelling of 2012. Now, this has to do with writing or character development.
Let's say, even though I haven't quite beaten it yet, I would say my runner-up would be Hotline Miami. Mm-hmm. And my winner would be The Walking Dead.
Okay. Why Hotline Miami?
Because of the way it tells the story.
Okay.
Because it's not very direct. It's very kind of Memento, that kind of feeling, where the world unfolds. Like, you kind of get glimpses of the storyline as you play through the game.
Right.
And it's a really kind of interesting way for you to puzzle it out without being like, here's the story. It's right in your face. You don't, there's no brain, necessary to be able to understand it all. Right.
And it's funny because this is exactly how I felt about Dark Souls last year.
Yeah.
And then Demon Souls the year before. So because that's exactly how the Dark Demon Souls series kind of does it. So cool. Chris Davis.
Runner-up, once again, Spec Ops.
Okay.
Just the journey of the character. I mean, it hides itself as a fucking generic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hold on. I think we're losing Chris. Uh-oh. Wait a second. Hey, can you say that again, Chris, or we lost you through Skype for a second?
Oh, I think your internet went out, Joseph. Or it did hiccup. Actually, yeah. No. We're good.
We're good.
You hear me?
We hear you now. So you Spec Ops because it hid itself, and then you kind of cut out.
And I said Spec Ops 1 because it hides itself within a generic shooter, but there's a ton of deep shit going on if you're paying attention.
Oh yeah, that's another one on my list for going back and playing. So next year when we have our best game of a different year, I'm sure Spec Ops might be showing up next year for that one.
And my winner is going to piss off a lot of people because I'm going to say Mass Effect 3.
Oh, especially the ending. Especially the ending.
I don't mind the ending. It's okay. It's not the best damn thing, but don't shit on a game just because you don't like the last 5% of it.
We could probably have this conversation.
A 4-hour discussion about this. I know.
Yeah, we probably could. So.
I stand by what I said.
Okay, good. So mine, my my runner-up is for best storytelling is being Max Payne 3. I thought I see you sighing, Chris, sighing at my choice.
Forgive me. It's just my only issue with Max Payne would be that it goes on a little too long.
I will agree with you. It does go on a little bit too long. That game's about an hour too long. I will say that. But I thought the storytelling was excellent. I love Max as a character. If this was, if Max Payne was a new person this year, he would have been on my best new character.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, but I just love his inner monologues. They're so fucking cheesy and wonderful. They sort of wallow in their self cheese, and I like a big fat man, just wallowing in his cheese. I love how it sort of takes itself not too seriously. I just really like the way that whole story panned out. Yeah, it went a little bit too long in the end, but I can forgive them that. My number one, and I guess I'm surprised, is actually that game that I didn't play myself, but I saw get played multiple times, like the entire thing. I'm gonna give it to The Walking Dead, just because I was able to watch people play that for the story. And,
yeah, it's very cinematic.
And watching these characters, and I'm sure playing it myself, it would have been even better. But I'm kind of breaking the rules and putting on a game I didn't play, but I'm the host, so I can do that. Fuck you.
I can't put it on my list either because I was not sober the entire time.
Oh, okay. So, so my number one for best storytelling, The Walking Dead. We're blowing through these pretty fast. This is pretty good. Yeah, we have like 3 more categories, and it's 8:57. We're actually going to be close to on time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
close
cool.
to on time.
Most innovative developer of 2012. So these are developers that sort of push the industry forward. Spoiler alert, I actually only have one of these. But we'll start with you, Bob. Bob, it's actually probably going to be From Software for the Steel Battalion Connect experience.
No, Jesus Christ.
How does it feel, Bob, when you know that the same people who made Dark Souls are the people who made Steel Battalion for the Connect?
It makes a lot of sense. It's very sadistic.
It is, yeah. You know what? You're right. And in fact, I bet, they're probably fucking geniuses. They're probably geniuses.
They're just artistic geniuses.
Because Steel Battalion is sadistic in a sort of meta way to the player directly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whereas Dark Souls is sadistic to you through the gameplay. So they what they actually did with Steel Battalion for Connect is From Software sort of broke the fourth wall. And we're sadistic to you directly. we weren't smart enough to see it at the time. But now that I can see what a brilliant game Steel Battalion is. I'm going to have to send you a new top 10 list.
Oh, Jesus. No. Oh, my God. That game's so bad. From a technical standpoint, if you want to go with the game that set the industry back would be Steel Battalion.
I would say the Kinect is probably responsible for setting the industry back.
Yeah, I would say
quite a bit.
But what made it worse was that you had a controller in your hand, but they fucking taunted you with it. It would have been better if the controller shocked you every 5 seconds randomly.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Interval. Right there is the genius of From Software. they're probably in a meeting and they're probably like, so we're going to make all these controls horrible. Player cry. They'll cry. They'll wish they could just pick up controller and play with it, but they can't. We won't let them. Another one goes, oh, but what if we still make them hold the controller? Oh, no, we haven't. You'll get a raise and promotion.
I just saw horrible.
It'll be horrible.
Oh God, that's awesome. Yeah, it's the worst too because you use, I think you use the 2 analog sticks and then bumper buttons, and there's a whole bunch of keys and a bunch of buttons on there you don't use ever for anything.
We know
Ah.
you all use buttons, but still hold the controller. Oh, you slide dog one. Slide dog. I love it. What are we talking
You
about?
just say man who has many buttons but uses none is wise.
That's right.
God.
So is that your answer? Is that your final
Yeah, I guess that's my answer.
answer? Chris Davis, what are you... most innovative developer.
Runner-up would have to be Humble Hearts, the studio or the guy behind Dust and Lacing Tale.
Oh, okay. What do you think he's done to push the industry forward?
He's made a fucking gorgeously animated game.
Okay.
And
it looks like a Disney movie. It's really beautiful. I will grant you that.
It's beautifully animated, and it must be innovation because it actually drove me to enjoy a Metroidvania.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't know that wasn't your bag.
it is not in my bag at all.
Okay.
At all. I know. I sound lame. I apologize.
No, we all have our flavors. That's fine.
But winner, once again, Arcane Studios for Dishonored.
Oh, okay. Very nice. So I just have one. Most innovative developer that pushed the industry forward in 2012. And I think it only needs to be one, because I think what they offered in 2012 is going to take us through the next maybe 5 years of gaming in the next generation. It's going to be Epic Games for Unreal 4 engine. Unreal 4 engine was shown for the first time to the public and really in a usable state in 2012. And the things that Unreal Engine is doing, not only for graphics, but for production and allowing developers to make games better and faster, which will ultimately lower development costs and also make for better games, because the more money you have to use to make these games, the better they can be. Because money and resources for game development is a finite thing, which I think people don't always understand. When we get pissed off because they're adding something like multiplayer to Tomb Raider, using the money and the resources to get that multiplayer in them definitely takes away from things that can be in the single player game and making the game better as a whole. And I think Unreal Engine 4 is going to make things, like I said, it's going to propel gaming. It's going to make it better. It's going to make it cheaper. And that's just going to be better games for the next 5, maybe 10 years. So,
I apologize, but I need to change my answer now to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
My runner-up has to be Arcane, but the winner for me has to be Valve.
See, I almost put Valve on here, but here's my thing. What has Valve done in 2012?
Big picture, green light, for example.
Okay, I can see. Okay,
Greenlight.
I forgot about Greenlight, so I can see Greenlight being something. Because I actually did I did a wiki search of Valve, and it's like, well, they didn't really do too much in 2012, and I think I had them on a few years ago when Steam was getting big. But I could see Greenlight. I was almost thinking about the Steam box, but that didn't actually come out until 2013. So we'll see about or it didn't get really shown until 2013, so it couldn't be here. So,
Well, I think we're missing the AlienDildos.com is really kind of pushing the industry.
AlienDildos.com is pushing all the industries.
Yeah,
they don't realize it, but it all cascades. They talk about trickle down economics. It's really all trickling out of an alien dildo and onto us. That's what it's doing. Okay, we have 2 more categories before we take a break, and then we will be joined by George, Denison, and Jeff. So number 8, best original soundtrack of 2012. Keep in mind, this can't be licensed music. It has to be an original soundtrack, which unfortunately takes Hotline Miami out of the running, because that's technically all licensed music, not regular one. So, Mr. Bob Webb.
Well, fuck. That was my answer.
Oh, was that your answer?
No, it was going to be one of them. I would say FTL would be a runner-up, since it had really great... I love the ambient music they had in that game, because they really give you the kind of nice... crazy, spacey feeling of like a 1970s, 1980s space kind of a movie. Mm-hmm. They did a really good job in setting the tone on that one. Winner... I'm looking through lists of video games. I don't know. Oh, Journey had a damn good one too.
Did you play Journey?
Smiley Alyssa just brought up Journey.
No.
But best soundtrack, Blops 2. No, Carlos. No.
Carlos over at
the sound of one man fapping.
Carlos over at 4pp.tv. Everyone knows Carlos. He loves his blobs. I think it would have been funny if for Carlos's top 10, like every single one was Black Ops 2, was Blobs 2. And it'd be like, number 10, Black Ops 2, and he does this little thing, number 9, Black Ops 2. And then said something different for each one. That would have been funny.
I would actually enjoy editing that video.
That would be a really funny video. I think Carlos should revise his list for comedic value. Honestly. Chris Davis.
I really don't have a runner-up, unless you want me to just repeat the games I said before. But once again, I have to. I'm going to give it to Mass Effect 3.
Okay.
Just the booming score they made, the contrast between Shepard, having nightmares about what's happening back on Earth, and just the horror that the Reapers are inflicting on the galaxy. They made a tremendous score to expose the tragedy that's going on in that game.
Yeah. Okay. Is that your winner or your runner up?
That's gonna have to be my winner. Runner up, I'll give it to Dustin Lacey Tail again.
All right, cool. Someone in chat over 4pp.tv said, best new IP, Blops 2. Okay, so mine, for best original soundtrack of 2012, my number 2 is going to be FTL. Bob, I agree with you. The soundtrack for that game is fantastic. In fact, while I was working on my list here, I was actually listening to the soundtrack of FTL through YouTube. It's that good. It's very good, like kind of chill out, hang out music. My number 1, however, for original score of 2012 is going to be Max Payne 3. The soundtrack was done by an LA noise band called Health. Fantastic. It's really good. It's not the booming orchestral sort of soundtrack that we're sort of become accustomed to in video games now, and a lot of times I think kind of gets a little dull after a while. It has a much more raw, gritty sort of like garage band feel to it, but then overlaid with that high production value. I just thought they did a great job, and I think if you question it, just go and look up Max Payne 3. OST and just kind of listen to these tracks, and I think they're really well done. So that's mine. So our number 9 actually is our number 11 award, which is the game that just about made it to your top 10 list, but not quite. I'm going to sit out on this one because I will answer this in part 2 because we're going to do it again, this category again at the end of part 2 with George and Jeff. But I'll give you guys a chance to. Name your number 11.
I didn't even have a top 10.
Bob doesn't even have a top 10.
Bob was way too fucking busy this year to play games.
Bob was going to do his top 10 worst games of this year.
I may still do that. I'll write a post about that.
Okay. And then you can maybe add your runner-up to that one.
I can think of a couple. How about, since I'm not going to do some other category, I'm going to choose Guilty Pleasure. The game that I loved playing that nobody else played. Uh-huh. That was just kind of one of these games that out of nowhere that I really liked, and it was actually a game I wrote a review for. Mm-hmm. And it had some really good core pieces to it, and that would be Blades of Time.
Oh, okay, yeah,
it's one of those games. I
forgot about that one this year.
Yeah, it was it really was under the radar. Not a lot of people played it. I mean, it's not a good game, but it's still fun.
Right.
It's one of those games that I would absolutely recommend people pick up if they like kind of action games. Because the time rewind mechanic in that game is fun. It's a lot of fun. You can get basically unlimited clones of yourselves fighting guys. It's awesome.
That does sound like fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And it didn't do very well, so I bet you could pick it up really
pick it up for dirt cheap. Let me check it out. What is on Amazon or something?
I would guess $20.
Oh, really?
I'm guessing. I'm throwing that out there.
That's kind of high.
You think that's high? I thought it was maybe undercutting.
Yes, I win. $16.
$16.
Yeah,
you win the showcase. I overbid. So,
I was going to guess around 15, and that was pretty much the median there.
Nice. All right. Well, cool. People should pick that up. I might pick that up this year. There's. I tell you what. There's a lot of games I missed, and I'll be talking about that when we get to our biggest regret category, which is later in the show. But number 11, Chris Davis. What is yours?
Oh, I guess I should do number 12.
Number 12.
That's my runner-up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yes, number 12 and then number 11.
All right.
As I choked to death.
This is going to piss Carlos off because it's not in my top 10.
It's going to be Blops 2, right?
It actually has to be Blops 2. Now, you have to understand, I have a bit of an infatuation, if you will, with Treyarch.
Okay.
Because,
where does this come from? What?
I love them because they made an entire AAA game, engine and all, in 11 months. I just thought that was fucking amazing. And that was Call of Duty 3. But, they're the ones to always experiment and try new things with that series. And they did it, again, with Black Ops 2. You got the branching storyline. You've got the new strategy element to the game. You've got multiple endings. And the multiplayer is fairly decent. So
I will say this: I enjoyed Black Ops 2 a lot more than I thought I would. I love the branching storylines. I liked that they try to put like these sort of RTS elements into it. I was actually really surprised by how much I enjoyed Black Ops 2. As much as I sort of bad-mouthed Call of Duty jokingly, and I ended up buying it, and I didn't buy the one right before that, Modern Warfare 3, because I just didn't feel like taking that plunge so soon.
You didn't mess much.
Yeah, but the multiplayer was great. I still play it. Have a lot of fun with it. And I will say, I enjoyed the single player of Black Ops 2 a lot more than I enjoyed the single player of Halo 4. 100%.
Which?
And you can take that to the bank, baby. Whatever bank that is, it's probably a slut bank. What?
What?
I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know either. But speaking of, my number 11 has to be Halo 4.
Okay.
I've always loved the Halo series, but this new one, it went in directions I didn't want to go to, and I couldn't get into the multiplayer at all. Of the Halo 4 multiplayer? Yeah, I couldn't get into it all. It's got great ideas, but it's just not delivering for me. So
I got really bored. I got really bored with the single player. I got to the point to where I couldn't wait for it to be over toward the end. And then the experiences I had with the cooperative play just really weren't very positive. I think I was playing with somebody who had a bad connection, so my lag was really bad, and I think that was my own personal experience. But even just we were playing it on Legendary, and it felt like a meat grinder. I felt like we weren't really...
It feels like a meat grinder, and a lot of the charm in the series is gone.
Mm-hmm.
The Covenant chatter alone, it's gone, and that kind of takes the endearing out of the characters.
Do you think Halo kind of got too big for its britches and too serious for its own good, in a way?
I don't think the universe has gotten too big for its britches, but definitely...
No, I don't mean the universe. I mean just it as a thing. Halo 4
as a thing, it's teetering on the edge, and I really hope 5 doesn't do that to us.
Right.
I hope it just doesn't go over.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, cool. So yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the first half of the Cocktail Time 2012 award show. We're going to take a small break, and after the break, George Denison and Jeff Demelo will be joining us for the second half and the second round of questions and categories.
You called him Jeff Diablo again, didn't you?
I think I called him Jeff Diablo again. I'm just going to call him Jeff Diablo all the time. I think that's a good. I think he should do his beard with little horns coming down the bottom, and then do his hair, yes. And we just call him Jeff Diablo all the time.
You're being so rude to our London correspondent.
Why? I said George. Do I have to think of a name for him as well?
I'm just thinking, right now, it's probably 6 o'clock in the morning for him. Right? He stayed up all night just so he could talk to us.
It's actually 4 or 5, I think.
Or something like that.
We'll be getting to him. It's fine. It'll be even better if he's a little delirious. I think that's no problem. If anyone wants to follow along, make sure you watch us on 4pp.tv. It's our live page. And then in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see a little thing that says Cocktail Time Year Event Show. And right there, all the categories for 2012 are listed. And also, I'm going to play a little song. This is the music that we usually play during our Toast of the Week. This is so I chose this song. This is actually a song from a good friend of mine in Jersey named The Wedge. And he wrote this song called The Bagel Song. You know, he's one of my friends, so he's kind of weird.
I remember the bagel song.
Remember the bagel song? So we usually play it in the background, but during our break tonight, we're going to play it in all the way up in the front. This is The Wedge with the bagel song, and then probably a little something else while we get everyone else set up. So we'll be right back in about 5-10 minutes. Thanks, everybody. 4pp.tv.
See you later.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Give us about 2 minutes.
Why don't you pick the bigger love? Because you are a fucking pelican. Allow me to pick the bigger love down. The bigger love down. The bigger love. When you're looking down the street, pick up that big one next to me, it's down. The bigger love down. The bigger love. When you're walking down the street, pick up that big one next to me, it's down. The bigger love.
Things just disappeared.
The bigger love.
Okay, I'm gonna cut the call real quick. Just tell him I'm gonna need him to call me back because I'm just changing over to Skype on the desktop.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
When you're walking down the street, pick up that big one next to me, it's down. The bigger love, down. The bigger love. When you're walking down the street, pick up that big one next to me, it's down. The bigger love, down. The bigger love. When you're walking down the street, pick up that big one next to me, it's down. The bigger love, down. The bigger love. When you're walking down the street, pick up that big one next to me, it's down.
Joseph, are we doing a video?
Yep.
Okay,
Shit, wait a second. Got it.
There it is. see an invite. Oh, okay.
Okay, send.
There it is. Oh, shit.
Hey, George, I don't see you on the next one to hang out. If you have issues, we can just have you in audio.
No, why am I not in the video? Excellent.
I put my interstellar split.
Oh, I know why. Hang on.
Happy finish.
I'm getting an echo from you, Jeff. Hang on. When you invited me to the hangout, I didn't actually have my webcam on. I turned it on since. So it's still not coming up with any video. Joseph?
Yo.
Are you there? I don't know why I haven't got any video.
Why don't you leave and come back again?
Okay, I'll try that. How does that noise? How do I? Oh, come on. Why is it not got any, why has it not got any video? What can you guys see?
We can see the expert thing.
Yeah. So, please run XSplit Broadcaster and enable outward. Jesus, what was that?
Like, you should even have XSplit on right now.
No, I don't have XSplit.
That's weird.
Why is that?
listeners. We can't get her. We might just have to have you on audio.
Okay, that's fine. I'll see if I can sort something out while we're doing the sell.
I'm gonna come back then. Oh, we're gonna set this up. Hold on, everybody. We've never, like, when I switch things midstream. Look at this. There he is. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktail Time 2012 Award Show. This is going to be part 2, second half, and I'm here with Jeff Demelo. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up?
And on the audio, we're having some video issues, I guess, is George Denison from the UK. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
So I guess just, work on it and see if we can get you in here. Video.
It's all going wrong.
It's all
going wrong.
There's an echo.
You wouldn't even know, like, George, you have to make sure you shut off your microphone, unmute your microphone, and
How's
XSplit.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You don't even know. We were having issues when we first started out. Like, Bob's camera wouldn't work, and then Google Hangout was crashing for Chris, and then I couldn't get an erection. It was just nothing was going right. Nothing was going right. So we're back, and we're doing the 2012 award show. We have another set of 10-ish questions here we can go through. And I guess we can just jump into it. But real quick, I mean, how do you guys feel about 2012? I mean, looking back, we're in 2013 now. We're about to get the first new big release of 2013, DMC Devil May Cry by Ninja Theory on Tuesday. And I tell you, like, for me, personally, these end of the year shows always is sort of like the flip of the coin. Like, this is the turning point right here. I feel like we've been in 2012 until we do our year-end show, and then I sort of take a deep breath and then exhale out 2013. So, but looking back, how do you guys feel? I guess we'll start with you, Jeff. I mean, how do you feel about 2012 in general? Hello,
George. Is George gonna go?
I'm here, but I thought it was Jeff.
Oh, I said Jeff.
Oh, did you say Jeff?
I said Jeff.
Okay, sorry. I was taking a nap before the show.
Jeff is tired. He's got to work.
Yeah, I was drinking for the Patriots game.
Oh yeah, I was in a restaurant, and these fucking people. I was trying to do show prep. I'm sitting in a restaurant trying to do show prep with my laptop, and the screaming that was happening because I'm in Seattle and the Seahawks played today, and people were screaming. They were screaming like a rapist in a Chuck E. Cheese. It was like unfucking believable. I was like, oh my god! And then it annoyed me so much is that when the Seahawks lost, I was like, good, fuck them.
So fuck sports and let's talk about video games.
Yeah.
And fuck Houston too, for that matter.
I thought you guys won. You guys won today, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we kicked some ass. So as far as 2012 for video games, I thought 2012 was like one of those years that like crept up. You know what I mean? And then like there were all these great games. Like looking back in December when I started like crunching down. Excuse me. When I started crunching down this list of favorite games, like it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was like, damn, I have a lot of favorite games this year. So I feel like it was one of those game years that were really, really good. I never, like, as it was going on, I didn't realize it. You know what I mean?
I think you're right. I mean, I felt like we had a lot of, reboots and games came back and new IPs that were really good. I mean, I'm looking at my quick list right here, but love it or hate it, we had a new Hitman game. We had a new Far Cry game. Games like Dragon's Dogma completely took me by surprise. I mean, we were excited about Dragon's Dogma, but I felt like Dragon's Dogma could have went one way or another. It could have been like amazing, or it had the potential to be really shitty. And it blew me out of the waters. I would say it's one of my favorite games this year. DLC stuff like I Am Alive, which was really surprising and was really, really well done. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of surprises, I think, You know, especially in the era of DLC stuff and Steam games that none of us saw coming, like games like FTL and games like Dust, that I think really kind of shaped the landscape in a way that we didn't expect.
Yeah, totally.
How about you, George?
Yeah, it's been an okay year. I think it's been a good year for indie developers, not so much for AAA games.
I think that's exactly right. I think what I saw was a lot of the AAA franchises kind of like didn't do as well as people thought they would. I mean, for instance, put Black Ops 2, which was enormously successful, but I think sales are down 12%. Assassin's Creed 3, I think, did pretty well, but I know a lot of people were just kind of ho-hum about it. Hitman Absolution, we all know how that went. What else do we have here on my list? Oh, God, if that was... Resident Evil 6. Oh, my God, like, that was a fucking debacle. So, yeah, I think you're right. It's like almost like 2012 was like the year of the indie game. Games like FTL, games like Fez, games like Dust, Elysium Tale, things like that really blew our socks off. Whereas with the AAA games are just kind of like, oh man, either really disappointing or just ho-hum. Spelunky. So Vilusik, how do you say your name? This guy in our chat room at 4pp.tv, it's Vilusyk. Vilusik. Anyway, he said Spelunky. Yeah, he's absolutely right. That's another one. So I think that's 100% correct. So speaking of which, our first category for our 2012 awards show, second half, here is best downloadable game of 2012. George, let's start with you. We'll go George, Jeff, and then myself. So we're going to do your runner-up first, and then your winner.
Sure. Okay. My runner-up for best downloadable game is going to go to Fez, which I really like.
That's another game. I have my list of games that I missed this year is so fucking long. Bob on our chat at 4pp.tv is best downloadable game of 2012. Blobs
Hi,
2.
Bob.
Blobs 2.
Yes, Blobs 2 was a pretty good indie game.
It was a very good indie game. It's amazing what you can do with a staff of 600.
I mean, it didn't get a lot of marketing push or anything. I mean,
no.
I heard about it through word of mouth,
right.
And I had to get it through very elusive channels.
Yeah, I actually bought my copy off the back of a truck in Brooklyn. That was the only place I could find it.
That's funny.
So Fez was your runner-up.
Yeah, I mean it's 800 Microsoft points, but it's probably some of the best 800 Microsoft points you will spend this year.
Mm-hmm. Does it bother you that the creator hates Asian people?
I don't know. I think that those comments were sort of. He just said something slightly silly and ill-advised, and he probably shouldn't have said it. But I don't think he was actually racist.
I heard that he was the mastermind behind the Japanese internment camps in World War II.
Well, but that's the past, Joseph. That's the past. He's a different man now.
He's made changes. He's come around.
Can I say this? Sure. Like the whole thing about Phil Fish and the thing that we should respect as gamers is that he is really that, and he makes those mistakes because he's not like a trained PR guy. He doesn't have any of that. So of course, like when someone steps on his toes or like or he gets thrust into this giant universe of like stardom for this game, like he's gonna make a stupid statement like that because it's what happens. You
gotta respect him for that.
Yeah, he just said that modern Japanese games suck, if I remember correctly. It's not like he got up on stage and said that all Asian people should die.
Those statements are very different from each other. And in fact, I think there were some Asian developers who said that their games sucked. I think that's like kind of they're I mean, I'm serious. I don't have facts to back this up, but I think there was some speak of changing the development procedures in Japan, and I think it's one of the reasons. If you guys remember, maybe more than a couple of months ago, but Hideo Kojima did a tour of Western development studios to kind of see how they worked and see how they develop games, and he brought all that knowledge back to Japan and has been using that knowledge to build things like the Fox engine for the new Metal Gear Solid and whatnot. So he kind of took that to heart to a degree. So, did you say your runner-up? Did you say your number one? He did say your number.
Oh, no, I didn't. My number one, I'm giving to The Walking Dead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Which, not only is it a great downloadable game, it's also a really great use of the episodic format. Mm-hmm. And I kind of had a little crisis when I was putting together my top 10 games of the year, thinking, with The Walking Dead, did I, if I were to go back and play it from start to finish, just as a say 10-hour or however long it is game in isolation, rather than playing an episode and then waiting another month to play the next episode with the hype and the anticipation, would I feel the same way about it? Right. But I think I would. But that episodic format and the whole thing playing out as a drama over sort of 6 or 7 months or however long it took definitely added something to the experience of that game.
I would agree with that. It helps you because you finish an episode and then you have months or a couple of months to just think about it and stew on it and really build up that anticipation for the next episode. And I think it's the modern cliffhanger or the old school idea of the cliffhanger, but then taken to a further degree. I mean, it's why shows like Game of Thrones and stuff work so well, because you get one a week and there's always a cliffhanger, and all week you're like, oh man, I can't wait. And then a season ends, and for the next week, for the next couple of weeks or month or however long it takes, like, oh, I can't wait. And it's that buildup that I think really makes that subsequent release all the more have all the more effect on you.
But then even if you were to buy the retail copy and then have all 5 episodes just back to back, it's still structured in a very convenient way. Well, I don't know about everyone else, but I like to play games in no more than sort of 2-hour chunks at the most. So in a sense, it's ideal because you get to the end of an episode and you've played about as much game as you want to play, and then you can step back and go play the next one the next day or whenever you want to, really. Right. So it's a great structure anyway, even without that building hype over the periods it was released over.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Nice. Jeff, best downloadable games.
Hi.
Runner-up.
My runner-up is Super Hexagon.
Oh, yeah. I've been... Here's my thing with Super Hexagon. I love the music.
Yeah. Oh. And yeah, dude, like it's like it's so brilliant. Yeah. And simple. Yeah, it's so simplistically brilliant. It's an idea that's like I expected to have seen it before. Mm-hmm. It's one of those games where you're like, man, like this is so like it's so like obviously something that should have been done before, but I've never seen it done before, and it's got layers, and it doesn't seem like that kind of game. And when it starts, you die almost instantly because you really don't know what's going on, and that control aspect takes time to get used to, especially on the iPad. Like when you press the screen, it's, I don't know if it's touch sensitive, but it spins really fast, and you have this. Eventually, it becomes this tactile game where now I have to understand the feedback on how quick and how often I'm touching the screens, and like getting accustomed to the touch. And then once you get that, and you get better at that, because now you're swinging your little arrow around to rotate the hexagons and stuff and escape out of the one gap out of those hexagons. You start getting into the timing of it, and that game is almost like secretly a music based or rhythm based game. When you get into later, like when you get into 30 seconds or longer, it becomes this rhythm. Like I was using the beat because it's got this really, really dope like 2 songs or 1 song that like kind of plays different parts, but the song that plays, like, it kind of drives you because you hear more of it. And it was just this game that came out of nowhere by the guy behind VVV, Kavanaugh or something, and it was a big surprise for me.
That's one thing. Like when I watch it be played, it's almost like frustrating for me because I love the music and I just want to listen to the music. And then when the person keeps on failing and it keps on starting, and I'm like, oh god, I just want to hear the music. Just do it right, do it right for God's sakes. And I'm sure when you want to succeed, it drives you. Yeah, because you want to hear the song.
Damn it, I want to hear this fucking dance song.
Yeah. Very cool.
But I'm agreeing with George, and I think best downloadable game this year is Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. See,
same reasons, like the episodic content, the idea that games can be built that way in the future, like. I want them all this way. Like, I want everything to be episodic. I want it to I want to still be thinking about the last half of a game 6 months after its release date, and maybe be playing it in chunks that just end at these cliffhangers. All games have multiple cliffhangers in them. The only difference is as a player, you have to decide to stop there and then start there again. And when you do that in Walking Dead, they give you, like a something to a refresher, and just that whole format and how it worked, and the things they did were fucking awesome.
Yeah, I didn't play any Walking Dead this year, so I couldn't put it on most of these categories or anywhere. So it's going to be in my I think it's biggest regrets category is that's in there. So unfortunately, I can't give it the due I can see it deserves, but I just can't do that, honestly. For my best downloadable games, number 2, FTL. And keep in mind, I didn't play a lot of downloadable games this year. But FTL is definitely one of them. I love that game. It's sort of like a Starship Commander type of game, and I love that aspect of it. And then my number 1 for best downloadable game is going to be PlanetSide 2. And everyone who's fucking watched Cocktail Time knows about my PlanetSide 2 addiction. So I was addicted to PlanetSide 1, and I'm still addicted to PlanetSide 2. It has its issues as a game, and they're working on getting those cleared up, but there is no multiplayer game out there with the scale that even comes close to the type of scale that PlanetSide 2 offers in terms of a combined arms environment. It makes Battlefield 3 seem trite by comparison. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with PlanetSide 2 in the long haul, because I think they have some pretty dedicated developers working on that game, and it has a long way to go, but I think it's going to go in a good direction. So, all right, best multiplayer experience of 2012, Mr. George. Runner up.
So I take it you can't see me on the video.
I get. Oh, you were here there. Hold on. Wait a second. We have a George. Oh, wait a second. I have to. Hold on. Wait a second. We'll get this in a second. We'll get this figured out in 1 second. How are we gonna do this? Because we're all mixed up here.
Do you need me to go away and come back again?
Hold on. Let me figure this out, because my windows are all messed up. Let's do this. No, I got this. I got this.
I got it.
I got this. Hold on. Remove that one.
Oh shit.
And then we'll add a screen region. We're adding the regions. We're adding regions, and there. All right, we're all together. Look at this. It's a beautiful.
Hooray.
It's a beautiful thing. We're a beautiful family. Guy. Beautiful family. Hey, George, welcome. Glad to see you finally.
I'm here.
Okay.
Also, you didn't ask us what we were drinking.
I did it. Yeah, let's do that real quick. George.
Oh my God.
What are you drinking, man?
I'm drinking blood.
Oh, he's a vampire. No wonder he's always up late at night in the UK. Now all of his secrets have been pretty fulfilled. He's going to be dating Kristen Stewart pretty soon.
Sounds good.
Yes.
No, it's actually it's berry flavored Magnus cider, which I saw in the shop today and thought I've never seen that before. Right. So I have to give some a try. And it's quite nice, but it's very sweet. So I wouldn't want to have more than, say, a couple of pints of it.
Right. Yeah, that sweet stuff can kind of kill you if you drink too much.
Yeah.
And Jeff, I think you've been drinking all day, so and you're like, fuck it.
Yeah, this is all that's left of my drink.
Is that vodka?
I'm on water.
Oh, so you're on water right now? Okay.
Yeah, I'm on water right now.
That's fine.
I was drinking since the first football game, which started at 1. So
what were you drinking?
I was drinking Captain and Cokes.
Okay, nice. I like a good rum and coke.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, rum and coke.
What is football? Describe football to me.
Football is rugby, except not so pussy.
Yeah.
That's football.
What?
Right.
No.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
It's basically rugby with pads and
rugby with black people.
Yes, it's rugby with black people.
That's what American football is.
Yeah, pretty much. It's rugby with black people and pads. Well played. Okay, so best multiplayer experience of 2012. George, you go first.
Okay, so I didn't really spend an extended period of time with any multiplayer game that I enjoyed all that much. Firstly because I'm not that into multiplayer, right. Unless it's something that really grabs me. For runner-up, I've gone for Syndicate. Okay. Because of all the games, because I always play the multiplayer mode if there is one there, even if it's just for an hour just to see what it's like. And the co-op mode for Syndicate is actually quite good fun. I think I enjoyed it more than the single player.
Carlos would be very happy to hear you say that.
Oh, good.
Carlos is a big Syndicate fan.
Yeah, it's not a bad game. And I think the stuff that they've incorporated into it, like being able to make people commit suicide on the fly and that stuff, it works a lot better when it's just a great big shootout with objectives rather than them trying to force it into their kind of half-hearted story mode. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed that. And for number one, just for being the multiplayer mode I've spent the most time with this year, I'm going to go with Trials Evolution, because it's nice because people often talk about multiplayer modes as being tacked on. Mm-hmm. But I think that the actual problem is that a lot of multiplayer modes aren't tacked on. They're half the fucking content of the game, and they've been rammed in there to try and make the game sell better. So Trials Evolution actually has a multiplayer mode that is tacked on, but that's why I like it, because it's really simple. There's like 2 or 3 modes. You can just jump into a game, you race, and that's it. There's a leveling system.
Yeah, I remember the first year when we saw Trials Evolution, we had no idea it was coming, and we walk into PAX Prime, and it's myself and Brad and Nick and God, I feel like Travis was there, but maybe not. I'm not sure how early this was in 4 players' life here. But we walked up and we saw, oh my god, Trials Evolution, and Brad had an immediate and sudden erection. He was very excited, and we all got in line. We all got together and played the 4-player just racing game together, and had a blast. We stood there together about a half hour just playing the Trials Evolution multiplayer. Had a great time with it. And honestly, I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with Trials Evolution, but I haven't really played very much of the multiplayer. But I feel like if I had people who would come over and play it all in the same room together and do those races together, that it would just be a blast.
And you can play it locally if you want to, which is nice. you can play it locally if you want to. And
I think locally is where that really shines. That would shine. So. Yeah. Cool. Jeff. Jeff. Go for it.
I didn't play much multiplayer stuff this year.
Right.
So by default, my runner-up is Twisted Metal.
Okay.
Which worked later, but didn't work so well in its first 2-3 weeks, maybe for me. When the game came out, which was disappointing because that's when I was really hyped to play it, and I just struggled with it, constantly getting kicked off.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal was something that I intended or played a lot of and tried to. But I think my number one is going to be Journey.
Oh, good choice. Another game I didn't play, but good choice.
Oh man, you got to get on that, Joseph.
Yeah,
Journey does exactly like it. It resonated with me because it retaught me everything that in this generation and in the last maybe 6-7 years, game developers have been trying to shove down our throats. It's like, online multiplayer and you can talk to all these people from, all across the world as you play this game. And, the fact of the matter is that experience for a lot of people is pretty fucking shitty. And Journey lets you have a multiplayer experience without saying a fucking word to anybody. Yeah. And it still works wonderfully, and it works to narrative advantage, and it works to that game's advantage on so many levels. You have to kind of play it to understand. Right. But yeah, when I think back in 2012, Journey had the biggest impact on me on multiplayer in a way that I don't think any game prior has ever had.
Well,
without spoiling anything.
One thing I find kind of amazing about Journey is the fact that everyone kind of says the same thing. They say it's amazing and it's one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had, and I can't describe it to you. You have to experience it.
Yeah, because if we kind of explain it to you, I'd have to kind of spoil it for you. Sure. There's something there. It does, like, the story goes somewhere that plays a part into the multiplayer experience of what you do with that other person and the journey that you take with that person or without that person. So, like, it's hard to explain without you having actually played it. Right. So
the thing that really interests me about Journey, I haven't played it this year, I confess.
Damn you guys.
Yeah, sorry. And about online co-op in general is what happens in the long term? Because I'm guessing the whole thing with Journey is that there has to be at least one other person out there in the world playing the game for the game to kind of work. I guess that must be...
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, in the long run, it seems very unlikely that there'll be a point in the near future where, like, no one in the world will be playing Journey online.
Right.
But, if you think of the long run, single-player games you can just put into a machine and experience for yourself without there being any other conditions. But when it's online co-op and it's only online, then there has to be another person out there online in the world for it to work properly.
To have the same effect, yeah. It does have that. But I played it recently, and there's still a ton of people playing because, again, it's that situation where it's different. If you play it the first time, the experience you're going to have the second time with somebody else and whoever it is that's on there. The thing about Journey is you never really, like, without reading into the game, you wouldn't have known that it was a multiplayer experience. You know what I mean? Because they don't indicate it at all until you beat it, and then it's like, oh, by the way, all those people you were enjoying, all those characters you were enjoying to interact with, they were all these people, and then you're like, oh shit, like, wow, I didn't realize those were real people, but I think there'll still be a ton of people playing that game because the experience is so changing, depending on what you're doing and where you're heading and who you're going with. Right. So, but play that fucking game, guys.
Yeah, it's on my ever expanding list here. So,
Joseph.
Yeah. So best multiplayer experiences. Number 2 for me is going to be PlanetSide 2. Obvious reasons.
Ooh, surprise.
Yeah. Like I said before, no other multiplayer game gets as close to the scope of PlanetSide 2. It's just a great experience, and it's free. If you have the computer that can run it, download it and try it out. You don't have to spend a nickel on it. Just just to get in and play some battles and experience something of that scope. I think if you can do it and you have the rig to do it, you should experience that just as a gamer.
There's the catch: if you have the rig to do it.
That's the thing. It's a resource hog. I'll tell you, it's a beautiful game when you have something to play, but it's, it takes something. My number one, however, of best multiplayer experience is going to be Twisted Metal. Yes, Twisted Metal had some really bad problems at the beginning. The first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe the first month, getting onto that multiplayer was a son of a bitch. It was broken. It was broken. The multiplayer itself wasn't broken, but getting into the multiplayer, was broken. But once you got in, I mean, Twisted Metal multiplayer is just a fantastic experience, and it breaks my heart to put in Twisted Metal now and see how many people are playing Twisted Metal multiplayer, because it's not a lot of people. And it's entirely 100% Sony's and Eat Sleep Play's fault by shipping out a product that just plain didn't work for people for a lot of the times. And it's for that reason that I think today the Twisted Metal multiplayer is just kind of a ghost town, unfortunately. But the moments when you can get in and play, and you still get in and play, it's so well done. It's so well balanced. The controls are so well put together, and it's such a great multiplayer experience. It's a damn shame what's happened with it. And if this can get more people signing in and playing that game, then I hope it works. But one of my favorite.
It never made sense to me, right? Because if you asked us in the PlayStation generation, what if I told you that 8 years from now you're going to be playing Twisted Metal with the option to play with humans online the entire time? I feel like everyone would have been, whoa, freaking out about it.
Right.
And now when you go on there, it's like you struggle to find a freaking match.
And it's a Twisted Metal. It's Twisted fucking Metal. It's a classic game. It's like Twisted Metal. In terms of classic gaming, it surpasses games like Hitman. It's been around before that. It's classic car combat. And number one, it's classic. Number two, there's car combat is a dead genre. It is a dead fucking genre. What do we have? We had Twisted Metal. We had Vigilante 8. We had one of the new games, Blood Drive. Who the fuck played Blood Drive? Blood Drive sucked. Blood Drive was awful. And maybe a few others.
If you want a good car combat game, go and check out Blur from a few years ago. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Blur's
kind of like.
It's Mario Kart though. It's just Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. I think it was pretty good fun.
I think what we're considering car combat is like that open environment where you can just go about and explore and learn the stages. Kind of car combat, not so much a racing style.
Yeah, and that's what Twisted Metal is, and the nuke games where you have to get the missile and then fly the missile into the statue and stuff. Those are fucking awesome games. They're so much fun, and I can't believe if they didn't fuck up that release. I mean, that would if you watch old interviews of them talking about Twisted Metal before the release, Jeffy and other people were talking about. They wanted Twisted Metal to be the new Call of Duty, the new tournament game. They're like, we were making this to be the new tournament game. So people do tournaments of Twisted Metal and stuff, and then you sign on, and there's 30 people playing. I don't know the actual numbers, but it's not a lot.
Yeah,
it's just not a lot.
It's low.
It's a damn shame. Okay, next category is going to be one I'm actually going to have to step out of because I didn't play a lot of this type of game. It's going to be best DLC. I played maybe one or two things of DLC, and I think it was two. It was Dawn. Where the fuck was it? Dawn Guard from Skyrim, and then I downloaded the vehicle DLC for Battlefield 3, and that's it. So I can say those are my choices, but
I'm with you, Joseph. I didn't download shit for DLC this year. I also wanted to say that in the future, I think they should find a way to not have to sell us that stuff. You know what I mean? I think it's coming with this new talk of like how Sony is planning on encrypting the PlayStation 4 discs to once they play on a certain system, they can't be replayed on another system without being unlocked. I heard which is a great idea if they don't sell me fucking DLC that way, because then I'll have to keep the game and I can't trade it in. Because it would be useless. But I don't want to fucking pay for DLC.
I'll tell you what, I don't think. And actually, first off, just Jeff, make sure you're not downloading or something because you're kind of cutting out here and there.
Oh yeah, no, nothing should be downloading.
Okay, just want to double check that. Check. And number two, I don't think Sony's going to go that route. I think they've probably patented it just because they developed the technology and they can patent it, and people will patent stuff all the time, just to have it. I don't think they're going to do that because all that needs to happen for them to sort of lose the next console wars is for Microsoft not to do that. And everyone's going to be like, well, fuck you, Sony. We're just going to get a Microsoft box so we can still play our used games. So
right.
They'd be killing themselves. They'd be
all games going to be digital.
I'm not looking forward to that. I have my own.
Me neither. I'm with you.
I think
I'm out of this conversation
for DLC.
Yeah, for DLC too.
All digital games is about is making more money by not giving you anything tangible, saving money, and then making you pay the same price for something that doesn't really exist. That's all it's about. That's all. It's about profits. Don't believe anything else they tell you. George, do you have anything for DLC?
The closest I can think of was the free Mass Effect 3 DLC for the ending that BioWare released, which I don't even know if that counts, really.
Yeah, no, that totally counts. I didn't even do it. I was like, fuck it. I was so done with Mass Effect by the time that whole ending hoopla was around, and I was like, fuck it. I don't even give a shit. Did you play it? Did you play that DLC?
Yeah. I played through the crap ending and the new ending.
What did you think? Did it help?
You know what? The ending to Mass Effect 3 had a lot of problems, but I think the furore that other people kicked up about it was so disproportionate to the actual quality of that ending. Like, the ending could have been literally the worst ending in the world, but the fuss that other people caused about it just was it was exhausting. It was exhausting to follow how other people were responding to that, because it seemed so needlessly aggressive, and then BioWare had to sort of throw their hands up and say, okay, we'll let you download some slideshows that explain what all this stuff means a bit more.
Was that all it was? Was it just really just slideshows?
Yeah, it was essentially it was a bunch of slideshows that explained what was actually going on at the ending a bit more clearly, right. Which is fine. I mean, I don't think it hurts the ending in any way to clarify some of the stranger decisions they made. Mm-hmm. And they didn't charge for it.
Yeah.
But you know what? With DLC, I'm going to not the best DLC, but the most outrageous DLC practice. Mm-hmm. Well, probably not, but for me personally, and I haven't actually played the game or downloaded any of the DLC for this game, but Dead or Alive 5, right? Mm-hmm. Is it Team Ninja makes that game, right? I think same people who did Ninja Gaiden.
Right.
So they've been releasing these costume packs at about 400 Microsoft points, whatever the PS credit equivalent of that is, and they're all costumes from old games, and they're not even new costumes. And if that's the kind of thing you're into, where you like to dress up the characters and stuff like that, right. You're getting ripped off. You're basically, by this point, you've probably paid a full extra game just to get these costumes that aren't even new. So what the fuck is going on there?
They're just trying to get. What's going on there is the fact that Ninja Gaiden didn't sell, and now they need money.
And thank Christ for that, because it was terrible.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 3 was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It was one of the worst games I've played this year by a long way.
Oh, well. All right, next category. Biggest surprise. So this is the best game that surprised you and surpassed your expectations. George, runner-up.
Okay, my runner-up I'm going to give to Mark of the Ninja.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not hugely into stealth games. I don't mind them. I like them, but I'm not. It's not like my number one genre. So I picked up Mark of the Ninja on the good reviews without knowing much about what the actual game was about. But that you're a ninja and you have to get from A to B. So I wasn't expecting it to be anything other than okay. And it's brilliant. It's a brilliant game. So that was one of the games that kind of blindsided me in terms of just picking it up as a downloadable title, thinking, well, it'll probably be good because it's like 90 plus on Metacritic, and it's winding up being one of my favourite games of the year because it's just so well done, and it's a great stealth game. So, but my number one is going to go to The Walking Dead. Because again, I just picked that up. In fact, I picked up the first episode of The Walking Dead just because it was cheap. If you get 400 Microsoft points, well, you haven't got much to lose there. Just to try the first episode out to see what it's like. I played the first episode, and it's not representative of how good that whole 5-episode experience is. It's just the tip of the iceberg. But I got to the end of the first episode thinking, actually, yeah, that was pretty good. That was much better than I was expecting it to be. So then I thought, okay, right, I'll download the next episode and the 400 points. And by the time I got to the second episode, it was like, holy shit, this is good.
Right. I do remember like when The Walking Dead first came out, and there was that air of, yeah, but it's sort of a point-and-click adventure game. That kind of sucks. And everyone's like, no, you really need to try it. It's better than you think it is. Just believe me.
Yeah, and again, it's because by that point, I was getting fed up with zombies. I think I'd already written the article I wrote earlier this year.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, why I'm sick of zombies or something like that.
Yeah, why I'm sick of zombies article. So I thought, well, I know it's based on a TV show, but it's still zombies. I know it's not a shooter, but it's still, it's still zombies. So I picked it up thinking, well, only because it's cheap, and then it winding up being one of my favourite games of the year.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my biggest surprise of 2012.
Great. Jeff, how about you,
Okay, so my runner-up is Fez, because, like, I didn't expect that game to be as good as it was to me. I initially, like, when I first looked at it, I thought that was all it was. I thought I seen it at PAX East that year, that Phil Fish got to show it, and I just pretty much grabbed it for 5 minutes and just rotated it around and said, okay, this is going to be cool. It's a platformer. It's really relaxing. Like, I'm into it. I don't know how into it I'm going to be. And then when it came out, same deal. When I bought it and I started playing it, I was like, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. And then when I fully realized what that game really was, I was like, oh wow, you know what I mean? Yeah. For anybody who hasn't played Fez, it's pretty much a memoir to like NES era, like in-game secrets, Easter eggs, and stuff that you kind of talk to your friends about in the schoolyard. Like, do you know that in Mortal Kombat, if you press A B A C A B B, you get blood in the game? Like, what, really? So that it surprised me more than anything else I could think of.
The great thing about Fez is that you can play it as just a really well-presented platformer with a bit of a puzzle element to it. But on the other hand, there's a whole other dimension to it, where it's got its own language, and it's got its own like secret code language embedded in the walls of a building, and there are all these secret areas, and there's way more to that game than is apparent on the surface.
Right, you have to be a certain type of person to actually dig into that stuff, because it did, like when I first played through it initially, I played through it like saying, fuck it, I'm not gonna, I don't know what any of this stuff is, I can't figure it out, I'm gonna keep moving. And then later, after you beat the game, you get a certain something, and then that allows you to do view the game in a different perspective, and then it changes everything, and it opened my world up to like, wow, like I really want to do this now, and I didn't before. I'm not a collectible, like I'm not the type of gamer that like does everything, has to do everything. Like earlier, Joseph, when we were talking about like The Walking Dead or Mass Effect 3, actually, George was talking about Mass Effect 3's ending. I think we ruin video games because we say, like, I want to see all the endings. I want to see how this plays out. You ruin everything when you know how everything works. When you open the game up and look at it and all its internal workings, you just ruin the entire fucking experience. So I think it's bad to do that. So I tend to not do that because I don't want to ruin what I got out of it. Yeah. But yeah, so Fez, and then my biggest surprise was actually Spec Ops: The Line, because I played that at PAX East, and I didn't finish the demo. I was kind of a dickhead to those guys. I was like, no thanks.
I remember you talked about this. And they were like, come on, Jeff, come and play our game, please. And you were like,
they were.
It looks like garbage.
I was like, this game is fucking garbage. Are you guys kidding me? Like the demo was the first section, and like you start in Dubai, and the first thing they do is like, this is how you take cover, and then shoot people and shoot more people. Yeah. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Like this, who is investing money in a game that's just another like standard third person shooter and with like a military aesthetic in the desert? Like, what is this? And then I got the game home. It was that initially, but then as the story beat started hitting and coming down the line, I realized that the game was a lot more than that. And at the end of the day, like I was super surprised, really, really, really surprised with what I got out of it. So much so that it ended up in my top 10 list, which you guys will get to see tomorrow, I believe. Something like that, yeah. I'll tell you, Spec Ops.
You know what Spec Ops is? Spec Ops is a spectacular PR failure, is what it is. The game didn't fail. The marketing and the PR of the game failed because they failed to show people the greatest aspects of the game right off the bat. And to everyone, it was like, you have to remember, like, Spec Ops came out right after SOCOM 4 came out, and everyone was like, it's shit. And this looked like a SOCOM clone, and no one paid it any attention because of that. So I 100% blame the marketing team for Spec Ops failure. And I haven't played it yet either. So was that was right? That was it, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's you, Joseph.
All right. So my biggest surprises. So number 2 is going to be Binary Domain. Yeah, just a really great. Talk about third-person shooters and stuff, but it was a really fun third-person sci-fi shooter that I just had a really great time with. Had really good boss fights. Just even little minimalistic things like shooting those robots felt really fucking good. Like, just shooting those robots felt awesome. Yeah. And it was just, I think it was the feedback you got, because you'd shoot them and they'd be blowing apart, and you could blow their legs off and they'd fall and they'd still be crawling at you. If you blew their heads off, they would kind of go crazy and then shoot other robots and kind of go manic. It was just a lot of fun, and it had the right enough amount of cheese to it, to where it just was like kind of like this silly action movie, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it a lot. My number one biggest surprise, and it was a big surprise, was Dragon's Dogma, because I felt like we were excited about Dragon's Dogma, but there was a really good chance that Dragon's Dogma was going to suck. And the days leading up to the release of Dragon's Dogma, I was steeling myself to the option that it would be awful, that Capcom would just totally fuck it up, because Capcom is Capcom, and they're like a big pendulum. It's either really great or it's really awful.
They don't make RPGs either.
And they don't really make RPGs, but it turned out to be fantastic, and it maybe my favorite game of the year. We'll find out. But love Dragon's Dogma. So there it is. Okay, our next category, biggest disappointment. Your biggest disappointment of 2012. George, what was your biggest disappointment of 2012?
I'm going to see if I can get away with bending the rules a bit here. If not, I have a
we'll see if we allow it.
As a backup.
We'll see if we allow it.
See what Joseph said.
We actually have a judge. We have Mr. Judge Lexicon Steele, and he'll let us know if he approves or not. What? What?
If he doesn't approve, my screen will just go blank.
It will just go blank. Your mouth will fill up with white goo. So what?
Okay, so I want to try and preemptively give this award, biggest disappointment, to Dead Space 3.
Oh, let's see. Let's see what the judges say. Judges, do you accept Dead Space 3? Yes, that is a yes. They will accept. The judges will accept Dead Space 3 as an answer.
So yeah, it hasn't been yet, but actually, it's more the announcement that they were going to have co-op in the game, which was in 2012.
Right.
And in fact, it was one of the first things I wrote about when I joined the site. And it's just a question of, even after them saying, I'm sure that Dead Space 3 is perfectly capable of being a great single-player experience and very intense, and this great roller coaster ride like the other two were as a single-player experience. But just the co-op is just one of those things where it's like, why? When they announced multiplayer for Mass Effect 3, I was like, why? But then I was like, okay, well, lots of people seem to enjoy it. Fine, whatever. With this, it's just like, it's why? Why?
Yeah.
Co-op in Dead Space.
It's because
why?
It's because multiplayer has to be in everything.
Exactly.
I mean, do you remember one of the stories that came out this year? One of the bigger stories, more interesting stories of 2012, came out when the Activision one of the Activision bosses came out, or EA bosses, one of the big bosses from either EA or Activision came out during a talk he was giving to other business people, and proudly stated that he's never greenlit a project that didn't have multiplayer. Like that was that was a source of pride for him, and that because that's where we are right now with this insane bullshit, which leads to things like Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider reboot now having multiplayer. Yes. I mean, it boggles the mind.
Yeah,
boggles the mind.
And
it's stupid.
Yeah, I think he had to backpedal after making that statement, saying, "Oh no, it's as long as it has a social component."
Oh, that's mostly bullshit.
Exactly, yeah. So, but my number one disappointment of 2012, not the worst game of 2012, just the biggest disappointment for me, was Assassin's Creed 3.
Ah, okay.
Where I think, when it got to Assassin's Creed Revelations, I felt that the series has gotten really bogged down in extraneous bullshit. Not some of it fun, some of it not. But it's like Assassin's Creed now has a tower defense game in it. Why does that need to be in there? And I felt that it was kind of it was obscuring the stuff that really made the original Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2 really good fun, which is the actual assassinating bit of Assassin's Creed. So I thought, okay, maybe Assassin's Creed 3 will be the game that can really bring... It's a new setting. I'm intrigued by this new setting. So you've got a whole new story to work with. And then you can focus on bringing the series back to its roots, to its original mechanics. And are you still there?
Oh, we're still here. I think we might have lost Jeff for a moment.
Is Jeff?
We might have lost Jeff.
Jeff disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You keep going. I'll bring Jeff back in.
Okay. Yeah. So so I played Assassin's Creed 3, and it became pretty apparent about a third of the way through that they were still going with this. It's just like it's everything but the kitchen sink approach. And there are bits and pieces of Assassin's Creed 3 that are still good, fun. And the Connor story is quite enjoyable, but I was just disappointed because I thought that they were going to bring it back to what made the old Assassin's Creed games really good, and they didn't.
Well, if you notice,
you're still playing checkers as a mini game. It's like that.
Yeah, if you notice, Jeff totally
he's just disappeared.
Disappeared. We'll get him back when he. Oh wait, no, wait, he might be coming back. There he is. He's
returned. Excellent.
There he is. Jeff, you back with us? No, call dropped. Let me get back in. So one thing you'll notice about Assassin's Creed is that you no longer really assassinate people anymore, do you? There's very little assassinating in Assassin's Creed, which is sort of amazing to me. So
I think it's one of those of many games that that's been released over the last few years, which has let the story obscure the gameplay. And that's not the worst thing in the world for a game like Assassin's Creed 3, where the story's actually okay. But I distinctly remember a bit towards the beginning of the game when I think it's when you're still playing as the first character that you play as, and you're riding on a horse and wagon next to the woman. I'm trying to not give too much away in case you don't want any spoilers. Right. And the only thing you do for a whole 2-minute section is press the left bumper to get a bunch of other people to go around and murder people for you. And I think this isn't Assassin's Creed. This is just me pressing one button to let a CPU play Assassin's Creed for me.
Yeah, so, it's amazing. We have our controllers now. Our modern controllers have 13 buttons. Including pushing down on the analog sticks and everything. It's 13 buttons, and to think that we're at a point to where in an Assassin's Creed game, and I will even say if you read the recent I think PC Gamer article. About the new Lara Croft, all we're doing is pushing forward to do everything. That's all we're doing is pushing up and pushing forward on the left analog stick. And
it's like 3D Sonic games, but slower.
Yeah, it's just kind of amazing, and it's like we don't, we can handle the extra complication. We want to do the extra complication. I just don't want to I don't want to just press up and watch stuff happen. That's not. I don't believe that's where we are as gamers. And I'm not exactly sure how the developers got the idea that is where we were as gamers. And I don't know if it was the influx of casual stuff, and they were like, well, we need to make this accessible. More and more and more accessible. But it's not fun. It just doesn't feel like there's no sense of accomplishment. You don't feel like you're getting better at a game.
I don't know, Joseph. There's a lot of people that really, really like the Sura's Wrath.
Nolan apparently is really into Zora's Wrath. I want to get Nolan on the show, and
that game.
And every time I'm asking him a question about a Zora's Wrath, he has to press a button in time before he can answer.
No, he has to fucking really, really, really keep pushing that fucking button.
He can't stop. Push that fucking button, you son of a bitch asshole. Where the fuck are we? Biggest disappointments.
Go.
Okay, you're done, George, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, you came back just in time.
Yeah, perfect. My runner-up is Resident Evil 6.
Oh, that would have been on mine if I played it. But
yeah, Resident Evil 6 is my runner-up for obvious reasons.
That's a fucking... Think about that shit. Think about this. Resident Evil. I mean, there are not a lot of games that command the respect that the Resident Evil name should command. And the fact that Resident Evil 6 came out the way it did is a fucking travesty.
Resident Evil 4 might just be one of the best games ever. It's on my top 5 games that I've ever played.
Right.
In two games after that, they are at their worst.
Even if you don't like Resident Evil 4 as a game, you have to admit it's been one of the most influential games released in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah,
look at how many games have been influenced by that game, even if it's only indirectly through other games that have been influenced by Resident Evil 4.
Oh, definitely.
So I agree. It's crazy that something like Resident Evil 6 is so disappointing.
The thing is they were ambitious, right? I was digging it. 3 characters, three intertwining perspectives. But that didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to work out. I didn't expect them to say, "Oh yeah, no, we're doing the third-person military shooter. We're doing the third-person horror shooter, and then we're doing this combination of the two, over here." And it was just bad. It just didn't get my attention.
My favorite is the exploding explosions. I like that.
Yes.
The exploding explosions. The explosions that explode into explosions that then explode.
Yeah, Michael Bay would be proud.
He would. He was jealous. He's sitting in bed. He's like, "Will someone just wash my car in their bikini while I just sit here and fume about the fact that I didn't think of explosions exploding first? God damn it!"
He was like, "God,
my Ferrari needs a new waxing. Find me a starlet who needs a break."
Explosions, exploding. God
damn it.
Yes. But my number 1 is Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yes.
it was just, and like,
it's bad. It's bad. And I love Suda. Oh, I think we lost Jeff again.
He's left on a good frame.
That's a good frame. I like that look of Jeff. He looks like he's getting head. He kind of looks
we should capture that shot. And,
we should.
That should be his picture for the site.
We're gonna put that in the in the staff.
He looks like he's in the moment.
He does. He's in ecstasy. He's in complete ecstasy, thinking about Lollipop Chainsaw. It's his internet has kind of been crappy tonight. He's been kind of cutting out here and there, and I think he's down for the count. Just look at that face. Look at that beautiful face. Look at that beautiful face. Look at him. Look at him in his jazzy face.
It looks a bit like the cover for The Bends by the Radiohead.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The head with the.
I can see that. I can see that. He looks like he's smoked a lot of weed. Okay. I guess I'll just go while we wait. While we wait for Mr. George. I'm sorry, Mr. Jeff. Let me get you centered. Okay. So my biggest disappointments, my runner-up is Lollipop Chainsaw. I completely agree with Jeff. I expected a lot more out of that game. I love Suda51's work. I understand that, his games sometimes have a gameplay element that have issues. I thought, what is it? Charles of the Damned.
Shadows of the Damned.
Shadows of the Damned. I thought that was a great game. Of course, he had the help of the producer for Resident Evil 2 on that. And I love his storytelling ability. I love his visuals, but the gameplay in Lollipop Chainsaw just was not there. It was awful. I think in my review of Lollipop Chainsaw, I think I gave it a 30% out of 100. It was just bad. I was very disappointed.
What you need to do, you need to go and play Killer 7 and Lollipop Chainsaw back to back, and that will make you realise how much Suda51 has changed over the years.
I'm sure. I haven't played I haven't played Killer 7 in a very, very long time, and I've never even finished it. So I should check that out again. Let me try to get Jeffrey back into this call. My number one, however, biggest disappointment, and I wish Jeff was here to hear this, but he's probably rebooting his modem as we speak. Call failed. My biggest disappointment this year was easily Hitman Absolution. Easily Hitman Absolution. I love the Hitman series. I think it's a type of game we don't find anymore. It was its own thing, and in the reboot or the new game Hitman Absolution, they watered down everything that made it its own experience, and turned it into this generic, Splinter Cell experience that you can have anywhere else. Pick up a Splinter Cell game and experience it even better. But instead of being its own thing, it's hiding in plain sight. Type of, it's not even a stealth game. I don't want to call it stealth. It's not stealth. It's open assassination game. It just decided to do what it thought was popular, and I'm sort of sad for that series overall. It broke me. There's very few games that can break me, and Hitman Absolution definitely broke me at one point. It was when I was trying to get out of the jail, and I spent 4 or 5 levels evading the police, and I was evading the police and evading the police and evading the police, and I finally get out of the jail, and I think, okay, now maybe I'll finally have an assassination target. Maybe now I'll finally have a level where I can play the Hitman game I want to play. I'm out of the jail. It's freedom. It's a feeling of freedom. The open air, the open levels. Maybe this is where the game is going to take a turn for the better. And I get out of the jail, and all of a sudden appears on the screen, evade the agency. Evade the agency. It's like, and at that moment, my spirit was, it was broken like Bane breaking Batman's back over his knee. And I could hardly play anymore. It was,
I'm afraid I can't agree or disagree with you on this one because I haven't played Hitman Absolution yet.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of it on the stream though.
Yeah, you should play a little bit of it just to have the experience with us.
I was just thinking we should have a new category: game that drove you to the most tears.
we could
game that brought you closest to a mental breakdown.
Maybe. I mean, biggest disappointment is sort of like that, but I like the idea of mental breakdown because that could be. That's really up for interpretation. Like perhaps it's mental breakdown over joy or excitement. But I like that. We'll think about that for next year. We'll just continue on. I'll keep trying to get Jeff in here. We'll see what we can do. So our next category is game nobody played. I just have one of these. But we'll start with you, George. Best game nobody played.
It's a little bit hard to gauge this one without having any concrete sales figures. I did a bit of sniffing around, and so my runner-up, I've gone with Silent Hill Downpour. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that one didn't light the world on fire because it got pretty mediocre reviews.
Right.
And it's not a bestseller as far as I'm aware, but it's definitely of all the games that have underperformed, it's definitely one of the ones that I think deserve to do better.
Yeah,
because it's a good Silent Hill game. It's definitely a good Silent Hill game, and when we're in this environment where that kind of psychological survival horror is so hard to come by, it's great to see somebody still putting effort into making an experience that's like that.
Yeah, it's funny because I that's another game that I missed this year, and Bob and I have had a lot of conversations about Silent Hill Downpour on Cocktail Time, and he's always spoken very highly of it, and so is Nick, and Nick is a big Silent Hill fan. So it's definitely, like I keep saying this, but another game on my list that I need to go back. I need to play eventually. So. Yeah.
And my number one, which Vorsk and Chat's already picked up on, I'm going to go with Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a very flawed game, but as you say, it's a PR nightmare because part of the whole idea of the experience is you go into it with a mindset that it's going to be another generic shooter, so that the moment, more or less midway through the story, where they turn the whole thing on its head is so much more effective. And in a sense, it felt like I didn't experience it in quite the way they intended, because I finished it today. I literally finished it today because I finally caved and just went ahead and bought it to see if I could get it finished before this award show. Because people were saying, this is a really great game. Yep, you have to go and see it. But I was only persuaded to go out and buy it because people were saying, look, it's not what you're expecting it to be. Right. So I was going through the game thinking, okay, when's this great big shift going to happen? And then it happens. And it's effective. It still affected me. But it would have been more effective if I'd have just, say, played it on rental or something and just played it to finish it. And then there's this bit halfway through which really sort of punches you in the stomach, and then the rest of the game actually gets it gets more interesting.
Right.
But and it's very. I've heard people coming up with theories saying like the mechanics of the game are deliberately designed to not be enjoyable, which is interesting. And it's true that Spec Ops: The Line is one of those. It's an odd game in that most of the military shooters like Call of Duty kind of are aiming for a cheap adrenaline rush, like a roller coaster ride, where it's like, whoa, there's an explosion and you're going to fly over here and then a helicopter's going to come and crash into the thing. But with Spec Ops, most of the gun battles actually leaving you feeling pretty kind of drained and sort of shaken up.
Right.
And towards the end, they're very hard. I think they deliberately make some of the battles towards the end very frustrating because it just makes sense in the story arc.
Right.
So it's a unique experience, but it's an experience that was always doomed to underperform.
Right.
I think it'll be a sleeper hit like Deadly Premonition, hopefully.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Cool. So the only one I put down here for this category was Twisted Metal, and the reason because it did okay, but it didn't do as well as a Twisted Metal game should have, and I think that's for a couple of reasons. I think, unfortunately, the car combat genre is sort of not as popular as it used to be. Back in the day, in Twisted Metal's heyday during the PS1 era. I mean, it was immensely popular. And I had high hopes for Twisted Metal, and I called it wrong. I thought it was going to be a blowout, personally. But it just kind of did okay. It kind of petered along, and I'm sure the bad word of mouth concerning the multiplayer didn't help the sales as the time dragged on. Sometimes these games can have a big long tail where they will have a moderate influx, but as word of mouth gets better and better, they'll be selling a good amount as time wears on. And I think the word of mouth about Twisted Metal was that the multiplayer is broken a lot of times. If you get in, it's fantastic, and it's one of the best multiplayer experiences out there. But if you can get in, that's you'll be lucky. And I think that hurt the sales a lot. And it's kind of unfortunate because we will probably never ever see a Twisted Metal game again, I think. Considering how much publishers are scared of risk, frightened of investment, considering that they put a lot of money into this Twisted Metal franchise, into this new Twisted Metal game, and it didn't do especially well. And I think it's sort of surprising. I mean, I don't know the inner workings, of course, but it's sort of surprising how Eat, Sleep, Play, and their relationship with David Jaffe sort of dissolved very quickly after the release of this game, to where even doing support of this game after the fact was a bit difficult, because Jaffe was no longer even really part of Eat, Sleep, Play, and he was trying to support it remotely, and Sony was trying to support it remotely and stuff like that. I think the game was sort of released under strange circumstances. And, like I said, I don't know the inside scoop on that, but it doesn't seem like another Twisted Metal game being very likely in the future. Definitely 100% not this gen, maybe 40% next gen, but there'd have to be some sort of resurgence for that in the car combat genre for that too. Like a new Carmageddon comes out and sells 1 million copies, then maybe someone will cough up the dough to bring Jaffe back and do another Twisted Metal. He's back! Oh, Jeff!
Jeff has returned.
Did you reboot?
Back.
Did you reboot your modem? What did you do?
Yeah, that's fucking stupid. I hate internets.
You actually sound better too.
Oh, do I?
Like you were cutting out a lot before and like a little bit robotic, and you sound better now.
Yeah, I'm on the verge of changing over. Like, this is the last straw for me. The fucking internet that I got. So,
who are you with now?
I'm with Verizon, but I'm changing over to Comcast or Fios or some shit.
Yeah, it would probably be best.
Joseph, you're in real danger there. Jeff would have disappeared, and my laptop might have done its overheating thing. And you would have been all alone just to improvise by yourself.
No problem. I can do that shit. I am a fucking professional. I will do like an FDR fireside chat of gaming. No fucking problem.
So what I miss?
So you didn't miss much. So were you here for the biggest disappointment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said what I say. I said Lollipop Chainsaw, so we could just move on.
Okay. So we did that, and now we're on best game nobody played. I just said Twisted Metal. George did his thing, so we're on you, man. You can go ahead.
I'm gonna cut my runner up on this one. I'll just attack the main one because I don't know how long I'm gonna fucking be here. So I'm gonna say best game that nobody played is Tales of Grace's F.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Okay, Tales of Grace. The Tales series is a JRPG series.
Oh, I know. I know the Tales series.
Okay. Well, this is just another one that came from. I guess Grace's originally came out in Japan, and then they brought it to our shores as Grace's F this year. And while it initially starts off feeling like standard fare JRPG bullshit, and it does fall into the tropes of it, like it was really, really fun, and its combat system was really, really cool, and the writing, surprisingly, like as it went on, got better and better.
Okay.
So I would say Tales of Grace is for anybody who plays JRPGs.
I've heard of the Tales games a lot, but I've never played one. So I am part of the problem. So best game from another year. So this is basically a game that you've played in 2012 that is from any other time, maybe a retro game you tried for the first time that really made a big impression on you. So why don't you start us off, George? Your best game for the year, Shadow. Whoops, runner-up. I should look at my paper while I'm.
Okay, so neither of these are retro games, but my runner-up I'm going to give to Just Cause 2 because there's just so much content in that game that it's basically impossible to run out.
Say that again. Sorry.
Just Cause 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's my runner-up.
You played that for the first time?
No, I've had it for years, but
okay.
It's kind of a go-to game where I can just play it, and there's always some other stuff to collect or some more bases to destroy, and it's just it's one of those games that's just inherently fun to play, so I never get bored of it.
Right. Cool.
Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then my number one, I'm giving to Batman Arkham City, which is a game I had a brief lull in my gaming schedule earlier this year, and I thought, what games do I actually own that I can sort of bring out that I might not have put. That might not have got that much completion on. So I put in Batman Arkham City and discovered that I'd hardly done any of the extra stuff. I remember doing almost all of it from Arkham Asylum. But Arkham City, I hadn't done any of the challenge rooms. I'd only done a few of the Joker trophies. So I had a whole few evenings. There was a blast just going back and re-experiencing just how great Batman Arkham City is.
Yeah, I finished Batman Arkham City, and there's a lot of stuff I kind of left and didn't, like Joker trophies and stuff. And I've been getting the itch to kind of go back in and play some more of that game and do some of the extra stuff. And I haven't played any of the DLC. Maybe I can play some of that. Wait, did I play the DLC? Wait a second. Or did I watch the DLC? See, this is the problem with what we do. I'm like, did I play that or did I watch it? I don't remember. I don't think I did play it in the DLC, but there is some DLC that I hear is oh, no. Here's what happened. Did you play the DLC, George, on the feed and it sucked and it was 2 hours long?
I wouldn't have played anything on the feed.
That's right. You don't broadcast
at the moment. Hopefully, sometime in the future, I will. But
maybe I'm thinking of Bob. No, I'm thinking of Chris. I'm thinking of Chris Davis. I think Chris Davis played the. That's right. Yes, Chris is in chat over at 4pp.tv, and he's like, "You watched me play it, Joseph." Like he's a jealous ex-girlfriend. We watched Chris Davis play it, and it was 2 hours long, and it kind of sucked. But I do want to go back. Maybe I'll do some of that Joker stuff. So, Jeff.
Okay, so, where's my list? Okay, so, best game of another year.
Yeah.
My runner-up is Witcher 2.
Oh,
which I know it came out this year, but I considered it, in my deliberation of 2012, I decided personally to call it a 2011 game.
I think we can call it both. I think it sort of straddles the line perfectly.
Yeah, well, I didn't get to put it in my fucking top 10, so I'm going to call it a 2011 game.
You gotta put it somewhere. Yeah,
The Witcher 2 is just fucking phenomenal. It's for anybody who likes RPGs. It's so well realized, and it feels more alive than a lot of other RPGs that I've played similar to it. But I think the winner has to go to Persona 4, which I just picked up this weekend, and I've put 14, 15 hours into quickly. And I've been meaning to play Persona 4, and this year they dropped the Golden Edition on the Vita, so there was a lot of talk about it over Twitter and shit, so I ended up finally getting going to pretty far lengths to get my hands on it, and I did this week, and I haven't put it down yet. It kind of took over my weekend. Cool. So Persona 4 is my pick.
Nice. So for me, best game of the year, I buy a lot of old games. I like to build up my collections of PS1 games and PS2 games. So my runner-up for best game of the year is Shadow of Rome. It's a game that Brad has played a lot on the feed, but I ended up playing a lot at home. And it's cool, kind of goofy Roman Empire sort of game where you're playing this gladiator sort of building himself up, and it's really cool and has a lot of great systems in it, and I'm having a really good time with it. I haven't played a ton of it yet, but I played enough of it to really, really make a mark, and it's one I really want to get back to. So Shadow of Rome, it's really awesome. But my number one is Kingsfield 2. So I really got into the Kingsfield series recently, and I got copies of Kingsfield 1 and Kingsfield 2. Maybe Kingsfield 3? Maybe it's Kingsfield 3? I don't know. I'd have to get up and look at my collection. But Kingsfield was by From Software, the guys who made Dark Souls and Demon's Souls. And it's basically a PS1 version of kind of like a Dark Souls game, first person, that just fucking fucks you in the ass any moment it can. And just destroys you any moment it can, and it's difficult, and it's hard, and it's unforgiving, but it's really kind of great. And going into it, knowing who it's from, and knowing it's a From Software game, and knowing the difficulty of it, it makes you kind of prepared for it, and it's really great. And it's so old school. Oh my god, it's so old school. Like you swing your sword, and just one like arm comes out like whoosh, whoosh. You know, it's so ridiculous. But it's a great series. So I've been having a lot of fun with Kingsfield too. So, we have like 3-4 more categories, and we're done. So our next one is out of comfort zone. So best game you play that lies outside of your comfort zone. So for an example, if you don't like racing games and you end up playing a racing game that you really love, that's sort of out of your comfort zone. So we'll start with George. What's your runner-up?
It was quite hard to come up with games for this one because there aren't many genres that I won't play because I don't like them. Yeah, if
you like gaming generally, like this can be kind of a difficult category.
Yeah. So my number 2, I've gone for XCOM: Enemy Unknown because I haven't generally played that many strategy games before, apart from Advance Wars, which I really liked, and Rome Total War, which caused me a lot of confusion. Or maybe I just didn't have the patience for it. So I didn't have that much fun with XCOM Enemy Unknown, but I still had some fun with it. So I've just chosen that as my runner-up. Mm-hmm. And my number 1 is SSX, Snowboarding Syndicate.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I really liked. And I guess it's not too far out of my comfort zone because it's still a boarding game, and I like Tony Hawk's and to some extent Skate and that sort of stuff. But I guess I haven't ever really played that many sort of snowboarding games. Yeah. So I just kind of gave that a rent as out of curiosity, and ended up loving it. So I'll give it to SSX.
Nice, cool. Jeff.
Okay, I only have one for this one.
Me too. So
I'm too fucking elite of a gamer to have anything out of my comfort zone. Yeah. But I went with Bad Piggies, which is another iOS game. It's by the people who made fucking Angry Birds.
Okay. I thought maybe that was an OK Cupid group or something.
No, it's Bad Piggies. It's pretty much fucking nuts and bolts. Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, except condensed down into more of a Angry Birds type format. You get like these components, and you got to try and build a craft or something to make it from the start of a course to the other end. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't support Rovio, and I'm not a big fan of Angry Birds, but, like, I picked this up on a whim because I thought they were trying to do something different, and I think they knocked it out of the park. It's really, really cool to make ridiculous shit that you know isn't gonna work. Like you throw 2 crates together with a fucking, a wheel in the front and just rockets in the back, and just watch this thing, fucking fumble around this course, it was just really, really fun. So I'm giving it to Bad Piggies.
Cool. Nice. I also only have one. I have my notes here, and I didn't really go out of my comfort zone quite a bit this year, and I think that's what kind of directly led me to not playing any of The Walking Dead, because I don't really like adventure games. I mean, I don't hate them, but you have to remember, I also played a lot of point-and-click adventure games for Way Back Wednesday. I played, the Gabriel Knight and Tex Murphy and all that stuff. So when The Walking Dead came around and it was a point-and-click adventure, I was not feeling the love. I just couldn't get myself to play it. And I think not going out of that comfort zone actually kept me from playing what is probably one of the best games this year. So I need to go back and eventually play it. But my number one, because of that, is probably Warzone Anomaly Earth, which I played.
That's a good game. I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah, it's really good, and I'm not a big person for tower defense. And Warzone Anomaly Earth is sort of this backward tower defense. It's almost tower offense is basically what it is.
Yeah.
Where you are building up your attackers and then going in and getting through the towers and destroying stuff and then picking up power-ups as you go along. And I really enjoyed it. And it's a kind of a pretty game, and it's sort of an interesting game, and it's sort of heady, but also fast-paced. And I liked it quite a bit. And totally out of my comfort zone, because I don't normally play those type of games, but I enjoyed it when I did. So Warzone.
I love the British stereotyping in that game as well.
The British stereotyping? Was it? I don't quite remember the British stereotyping. There's
a point, because all the soldiers are supposed to be British, and there is a point where they say the line, if we keep going at this rate, the Queen will invite us round for tea and crumpets. I just burst out laughing. You could not be more stereotypically British if you try.
No, that doesn't happen if you do a good job at your work or something. You just go over there and that's not normal.
Joseph, you played this on Steam or on iOS?
I played this on XBLA, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't play any iOS games. Mostly because I never really like my current phone could probably do it, but I'm so used to having a phone that can't play iOS games that it's just not in my habit to do it.
Man, I should keep in touch with you, at least with some freebie stuff that comes down the line that's playable on like an iPhone.
Yeah, let me know if there's something that I should really pay attention to.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some stuff like stuff like 10 million is some stuff that I think is more approachable to people like that actually play a good chunk of games. So
right, cool. Okay, here we go. So, see, I don't know if I like my choices for this one.
Uh-oh.
We'll have to see. No, maybe I do. It's okay. So, worst game everyone played. So it's a game that really wasn't that great, but sold very, very well, and did very, very well. George, start us off.
Okay. So my runner-up, again, not the worst game of the year by any means, but I'm still going to go with Assassin's Creed 3, which seems to have sold very well, but I personally found to be very disappointing. And my number one, I'm going to go with Borderlands 2.
Oh, that's very controversial.
I don't know. I got the impression that it was sort of a Marmite game. And there were as many people who didn't like it like I did as did. I absolutely loved it.
I got very tired of it at some point. So I thought it was fucking boring. Yeah. To be honest. It had issues. I will definitely agree with you. Jeff.
Hey, okay, so worst game everyone played. My runner-up is Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Oh God, wait a second. Hold on, wait. Oh my God,
But that doesn't stop a foamer. Oh, especially when it comes to heritage equipment.
Poor Carlos. He's going to be very upset with you.
I did it just to shun him because he called me fat a little while ago.
I thought he said you weren't fat enough. I don't know.
No. In all seriousness, like the way I was hearing about the game, I expected the single player to be a a little bit different, and man, it's just so duty, man. Like, it's so fucking duty. And now I think it's starting to really, like, that name is starting to really have more of a
meaning,
a thing.
Meaning.
You know what ruined it for me? The fucking ending with Avenged Sevenfold. Like, I know you brought that up and you kind of enjoyed it for comedic value.
I enjoyed. Here's what I enjoyed. I didn't enjoy, like, I enjoyed it up to the point to where Avenged Sevenfold played, but everything leading up to that I enjoyed, and I love the fact when West, was his name West, the guy in the wheelchair, West or something, when he gets up and they're like, "Oh, you can walk," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just fucking lazy." I thought that was fun, and I liked the fact, I liked everything up, and then when Avenged Sevenfold played, I agree, it became so brotastic. It was, a little too much.
Yeah.
I actually shut it off like a minute into them playing. I was like, oh, fuck this, I'm kind of done.
Yeah, I heard all this stuff about, like, branching paths and stuff, but the thing is, I know it's there, but, like, there's something about not knowing where it actually stands that, like, it doesn't. I played through it, right, and I was like, where were the choices?
But see, I like the fact that you didn't know where they were, because in real life, you don't know which choices are really going to branch your path until after the fact. You don't. It's not like if you decide to go to the store instead of going to the museum, like, a little prompt comes up that says you decided to go to the store, and then, like, you get extra something. Like, I like the fact that it was sort of undercover. I thought that was a good way to. I thought that was a good way to do it, and it's a different way, like The Walking Dead. When you make a choice that really matters, there's a little prompt comes up like, this guy remembers that you did that. And I wonder, like, how would it change the experience if that didn't happen and you didn't know?
You can turn that off.
Okay, I didn't know you could because I didn't play the game because I'm an asshole. But I that was one of the things I liked about Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was the fact that. It like real life, the choices you made, you didn't really necessarily know at that moment how much effect they would have.
Right. Right. Well, let's be honest, I just kind of wanted to troll a little bit with it. My real answer is Assassin's Creed 3.
Okay, cool.
Which same thing with George. Like, dude, I ran into a bug in that game, a glitch that had me playing the last fucking chase sequence.
I remember.
Hour and a half.
I remember you tweeting about that. How many times did you do it? Was it 53?
52, 53 times or something like that. And then to find out that it was a glitch the entire time, and to just, like, keep trying and, like, trying different things and, like, no, you're not supposed to go this way. Reload. And then to have it just, like, the last time, like, wouldn't work. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And just too long of a drag for a game, and I wanted something extensively different, and it wasn't. So I don't know. So Assassin's Creed 3, that's my game.
That's your number one. Okay. So my runner-up for worst game everyone played. Number 2, Quantum Conundrum. Everyone just genuflected in front of this game for months before it came out, and then months after it came out, and Quantum Conundrum bored the fuck out of me. It was a conundrum. I couldn't. You know what the conundrum was? Why everyone loved it? I had no idea, because it was Portal, but not as good. It was like a boring Portal with bad writing, And I understand, like, kinda like, oh, it's a puzzle game and it's cool and there's the fluffy world and the hard world and the way they meld together, and that's okay. But I just felt like it lacked that magic, and it lacked that story element that Portal had. The way that Portal introduced the gameplay to where it seemed like one game, and then you sort of broke through the mechanics of the game and into something else, but all within the game world. The game world sort of just devolved around you, and it became something else. And Portal 1 and Portal 2 both kind of did that, and I thought that was beautiful. And Quantum Conundrum seemed like the poor man's Portal. It did everything Portal did, but not as well. Even to the point to where, much like Portal and Quantum Conundrum, as you get deeper into the bowels of the house, the house changes and you see more of the mechanics and stuff, and it's like, okay, well, this is Portal, but not as good, and the platforming aspects of Quantum Conundrum just didn't feel as good, and they were I felt like they were a bit sloppy. The fact that you didn't really have a shadow to where your feet were, like, made platforming very difficult, so you sort of died a lot because you had no real frame of reference. I just felt like I didn't get the adulation that Quantum Conundrum got from a lot of people.
Every time you say Portal, Joseph, you make me want to play Portal.
Right, exactly. Do you want to play Quantum Conundrum right now? No,
I didn't even play it this year.
Yeah, exactly. But my number one biggest disappointment, or worst game everyone played, is going to be Mass Effect 3. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Mass Effect 3. If I want to play a third-person shooter, I'll play a good third-person shooter. I won't play Mass Effect 3. What?
Add those skills. Add the skills.
I guess if you want to put MMO type stuff with cooldowns in what should be your sci-fi RPG, that's great. But if I want to play a good third-person shooter, I'll just play Gears of War 3 or something like that. There's no reason to play Mass Effect 3 for that reason. So that was my thing. Mass Effect 3 kind of made me angry overall. I felt like it was trying to be something it wasn't. It wasn't really being honest with itself.
Yeah.
What makes me angry the most about games is when they try to make games be what they're not, and they shoehorn them into something. And I felt like Mass Effect 3 shoehorned itself into trying to be this action-packed third-person shooter, but that's not what it is. So, and I think we lost Jeff again. Are you still there, George?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're still here at least. All right. Well, we have two more categories: our biggest regret, and then our number 11 award, and our runner-up, which is number 12. We'll keep trying to get Jeff in here. We'll see if we can get him back. But as long as I have you, George, you're all I need.
I'm always here for you.
You and me, man. We can. It'll be great.
Bro fist.
Bro fist. Like international. Oh, there he is. Up.
I'm back.
He walked in. He walked in on us. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So moving on. Our biggest regret. So this is going to be your biggest regret of 2012. We'll start with George.
Okay. My runner-up. My second biggest regret. Not playing any of Far Cry 3. It wasn't really possible, to be honest, because it came out right near the end of the year. I didn't have the money to buy it as a first-day purchase. It's really high up on my to-play priority list, because all that I've heard about it and all that I've seen on the stream, it looks really good, and I'm pretty sure it would have been somewhere on my top 10 list if I'd gotten around to playing it before the end of the year, but sadly I didn't. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate. And my biggest regret of 2012, bracing myself for a reaction from Jeff here, was spending 20 hours with Final Fantasy 13-2.
I want to play that game. I do.
You know what? I'm sure you'll love it. If you liked Final Fantasy 13, I'm sure you will love Final Fantasy 13-2.
Yes, I probably will.
20 hours of my life I will never get back.
Never get back. Oh, man.
Oh well.
Yeah, who needs 20 fucking hours? That's nothing.
That's really when you talk about how long your life really is. Yes. 20 hours.
It's almost a full day.
It's a drop in the ocean, though.
We've probably spent 20 hours masturbating
over your lifetime.
I would rather
more than that.
20 hours. I'd rather have spent 20 hours masturbating than playing Final Fantasy 13.
Well, look at it this way: someday you will have.
Sounds
That's
good.
funny.
You know what, George? I know you can do it. I know you can masturbate for 20 hours straight. You can do it.
One day, I'll film it.
It's a dream. It's a beautiful dream that you should.
It'll be a YouTube sensation.
Don't hold yourself back. You can do anything.
Well, I have to hold myself, but yeah.
The power is in you. Jeff.
Okay, so my biggest regret thanks to George, runner-up, is not masturbating to Final Fantasy 13-2.
I just want to
at some point this year.
I just want to walk around in the world all day, masturbating.
That's a good point. You could probably masturbate while playing Final Fantasy 13-2, because you can play most of it with one hand anyway.
Oh, so there you go.
There's not much gameplay. So,
wait a second. Maybe you guys have been playing the game wrong. Maybe you're supposed to play it while masturbating.
And then the endorphins will sort of bring you up to a level where it's actually bearable.
Right, exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah. See, it all comes to fruition eventually.
And my biggest actual regret is not having a graphics card in 2012 for my PC. Like, I jumped back into Steam and PC gaming this year harder than the years prior. And I actually, by the end of the year, I played a lot of stuff on the PC. And while I could play a majority of the stuff I played was a lot of indie stuff, and it wasn't graphics intensive. But as PlanetSide 2 crept around, and not being able to play that, and not being able to play Far Cry 3 on a PC, and even Sleeping Dogs, that looked amazing on PC. Right. As the year went on, I slowly started to realize, like, man, I really need to get on getting a graphics card, because I'm just missing out on some pretty next-gen looking stuff. So that was my biggest regret.
All right. Cool. I have a pretty shitty computer, so I tend to think I miss out on some stuff. My roommate's computer is actually very good, so that's where I play my PlanetSide 2. But it's not mine, so I can't do that all the time. So okay, so my biggest regrets, I actually have 4 of these. 4 of these. So my number 4, my biggest regret of 2012 is starting to play PlanetSide 2, because it kind of really sucked me in a really, really bad way, and I fear for the future. And it's been okay, but now that the new games are coming out and they're going to be every couple of weeks, I need to stay away from the PlanetSide 2 a little bit, because I want to be, but I want to do more, because I'm in this outfit and like they have ranks in the outfit, and I want to maybe I can be an officer in the outfit, and I don't want it to consume my life, so I need to pull back on that. My number 3, my regret, is that I've not yet convinced Sison, or Frank, our writer, to admit to the world that he considers the writing in Far Cry 3 to be superb and the best written game out there. I might have evidence that he's told me this in private, but I know for a fact he will fight it. But I know that Frank loves the writing in Far Cry 3. In fact, he hopes to emulate it himself. He's told me when we hold each other under the moon. So maybe someday I'll get him to admit it to the public.
What you don't know is that Sison actually wrote Far Cry 3. He's just beating himself up about it.
That's the thing. So I'm going to change my biggest regret, is I have not yet gotten Frank to admit to the world that he was actually the sole writer of Far Cry 3. But he wrote it under a pseudonym. My number 2, and these are real, is that I didn't finish the single player of Twisted Metal. And from what I saw and what from Brad had said, was that some of the boss fights were just fantastic in Twisted Metal. And they might have changed some of my earlier categories, but apparently the single player Twisted Metal was actually very good. And I didn't get to that. So maybe I will in the next year, but that's kind of a regret. And my ultimate regret, and this has been coming up over and over again as we've gone through these categories, is basically that I didn't play The Walking Dead. And I think I definitely missed out on what might have been the best gaming experience this year, the most surprising gaming experience this year. And I will go back and play it, but I think after having... people tell me it still makes an effect when you play it yourself, but yeah. I think after watching it be played so much, there's definitely a surprise factor that's now lost. Knowing how it ends, knowing what happens to the main characters overall. I definitely missed out on that experience. It's interesting. David, one of the founders of 4Player, used to say that he hated missing gaming experiences when they happened, because there was definitely something about experiencing those things at the same time as other people, and having those exciting moments talking about them with other people, and being part of that conversation. And I won't be able to experience it that way again. And even just playing it myself, I know what happens, and it'll still be fun. But I definitely, I think I missed out on something a bit historic. So that's actually my ultimate. That's my biggest game regret of 2012.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is gonna be our final category. We're pulling up on 3 hours, which is not too bad. It's an hour later than we usually go on Cocktail Time. But this is gonna be our number 11 award. Usually the runner-up is number 12. I understand that can be a little hard to wrap your brain around. It is for me. I'm not even sure if I have a good number 11. But I'll throw that off to you guys first, and you can do what you want with it. George, you can go first. So these are the two games, or one game, that just missed your top 10.
So for my number 12, I've got Sleeping Dogs, which I enjoyed. Yeah. I enjoyed that game a lot. I didn't feel like I should put it on my top 10, because I don't think it really changed anything. I don't think it really innovated anything.
Right.
I think it just took a lot of good stuff from other games and executed it fairly competently, and just kind of stuck it all together.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it. I just didn't think it was.
I like Sleeping Dogs a lot. It was it definitely. I think you're right, and I might be talking about this in a moment. But I think you're right that it took elements of other games and sort of rehashed them, but I think it did it in a way that sort of not propelled but enhanced the foundational gameplay in a way that I think Grand Theft Auto failed to do ultimately, and I think that was the crux of my review when I wrote it. But yeah, so I kind of agree with you. So, number 11. What was your number 11?
Number 11 is actually a game that was originally in my top 10, and when my video tomorrow comes out, you'll see that it was my number 10, but I've since played Spec Ops: The Line, and I think that deserves to go into my top 10, even if it's somewhere quite low down. So Spec Ops: The Line just managed to push out Max Payne 3.
Oh.
I really liked Max Payne 3.
Yeah.
I thought it was good fun. I think it had problems, but it was originally my number 10. But since Spec Ops, I think, just about trumps it. It's pushing out Max Payne 3 to my number 11 spot.
So Max Payne 3 is number 11?
Yes.
Ah, okay. For a second, I thought Spec Ops was your number 11. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I Max Payne 3 might be in my top 10, possibly. I loved Max Payne 3. I think it did the series service. My biggest issue with Max Payne 3 was I thought that some of the situations Max gets into, because every level, every room you get into is basically a different situation. They seemed haphazardly thrown together. You're sort of in the middle of this room, and then all around you, everyone's coming in and shooting at you, and it just put you in some of these impossible situations. And every game, every level, every situation you get into in any game is like a little puzzle. And in Max Payne 3, some of these puzzles didn't really seem to have any solution other than luck. And you would just keep on trying and trying, and eventually you would dive in the right way or go the right way, and you wouldn't get hit. And you never felt like you figured it out. You just felt like, well, that's basically how it worked out that time.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, George.
I think Max Payne 3 is a really good example of something that I think Brad was talking about earlier this year on the podcast, where Max Payne 3 just becomes increasingly absurd as the story goes on, because Rockstar do a really good job of making that whole universe feel very believable. It's kind of, that's what makes the story for me feel quite near to the knuckle, because it's very grounded, it's very real.
Right.
And Max Payne 3 is this guy is great, but then when it gets into kind of the 7th or 8th hour of play, it's like, well, he must have murdered most of the population of Sao Paulo by this point, because all the main mechanic of that game is going and shooting a bunch of dudes in a room, and that's great. It's good fun. I'm not knocking the gameplay. I think it's great fun, but it's just that there's a disconnect between the story and the gameplay that happens around about 2/3 of the way through, where it sort of hits you at some point, I'm not quite sure where, that it's like, well, this is just increasingly absurd. Max Payne is a mass murderer, in the way that people say Nathan Drake is your friendly neighborhood mass murderer. That's because the world of Uncharted is just about close enough to realism for people to sort of spot that. Whereas you play something like Kingdoms of Amalur, you don't go, your character is the murderer of all the troll people or whatever it is in that game, because it's a fantasy, and those are the conventions of that genre.
Right. Although you are, I think it'd be interesting for someone to make a game almost like the Kingdoms of Amalur, where you actually play as a troll, and the main villain in that game is a hero who's slaughtering your people. That'd be an interesting sort of meta sort of thing they could do.
Yeah.
So, Jeff.
Okay, my number 12 game is 30 Flights of Loving.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Now the reason this game, it slowly got pushed back out of my top 10, because it originally, late in the deliberations of games of 2012, I started to push it more in, because as I kept going back to play through it, because it's just a short thing, it's almost barely a game, but man, that game does some innovative shit with video game direction, like how the game is actually directed. It's the closest thing to cinema we have in video games, I think, today. And I think that deserves some credit. And I think people really should go back or start to actually give the game a shot and just see how they do certain things, like instant cuts. There's no, at one point you're moving your character forward, and then in milliseconds you are automatically somewhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like they would in a film, they just, bang, they cut to something else. Like, it does that, and I've never seen a video game do that before. And it blew my mind, because it was like, why don't we see that? Like, why do they always, they use the same strings to string you along through a game, and they use the same techniques instead of trying different kind of. It's jarring, a little bit jarring, because you expect to just keep seeing your guy move forward, but because it doesn't happen, it makes it really, really interesting. Right. So that would be my number 12, and I highly recommend anybody who hasn't tried 30 Flights of Loving and is interested in that kind of thing, like how we approach video games like cinema and vice versa, to really check it out, because it does a lot of amazingly cool stuff in that level. But my number 11 is Mark of the Ninja. There was a lot of stealth games this year, and Mark of the Ninja had to kind of beat Dishonored for me, and while it could have, there was things about Dishonored that I really liked that Mark of the Ninja didn't. But as far as stealth goes, and just raw stealth action in a 2D plane, fucking Mark of the Ninja is really, really a dope ass game. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Mark of the Ninja as my 11.
Nice. And another game that I still need to play. I missed a lot this year. Okay, so I only have one for this. My number 11 is going to be Sleeping Dogs. George, I kind of agree with you. I just barely made my top 10. I don't think it was in my top 10. I don't think so. Maybe I'm going to mess up this. But just barely made my top 10. I thought it added some stuff, to the open world Grand Theft Auto genre. It made, because of the experience and RPG elements that it made side quests meaningful. You could do the little piddly stuff, and it made it made sense because you had those skills as a carrot on a stick that you wanted to make play easier and make the play more fun, and you never felt like you were wasting time. With Grand Theft Auto and like Grand Theft Auto 4 in particular, at one point I just sort of petered out, and I just sort of like, well, why am I doing this? I don't feel a sense of progression. Yes, the story is progressing and the characters are interesting, but I need more than that. And Sleeping Dogs kind of really, gave me that sense of more that I really needed.
Well, that's how I felt about Assassin's Creed 3, in that there you have all this side stuff, but there was no clear sense that it was helping you out in any way, apart from getting you more money or something like that.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, with Sleeping Dogs, I agree. Like doing the extraneous stuff is, in some ways, it's actually more fun than doing the story, which is still fun. But it is fun to just sort of go around and do all the weird little missions, get the raise your face meter and the cop and the triad meters, get the new abilities. So it's good fun.
Yeah, I love it. So, and that's it. That's it for us, man. That was our 2012 category. So, thanks, guys. That was awesome. So, yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, George. Thanks to Bob, and thanks to Chris, and thanks to everyone watching at home at 4pp.tv. This has been Cocktail Times 2012 award show, and I'll tell you what, guys, I am super excited about 2013. DMC starts next week. Make sure you watch the main website and our YouTube channel, because our top 10 videos are going to start hitting the net tomorrow. George and Jeff's are going to be first earlier in the week, and then we'll have more coming out as the weeks progress. January 12th is sort of like year-end bonanza stuff for us here at 4Player, and this sort of marks the turn. This marks the turn to the page where we do go into 2013, and we got a lot of good stuff coming for you guys. So thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later.